all I do.
Right. I try to every time because I don't really remember what I say half the time, but
that's why I listen back to them.
Yeah. I get like 5 minutes in and I'm like, I can't do this
anymore. I sometimes listen to, sorry, she will slobber all over.
It's okay. She was panting here and I'm like, people are going to think that it's me who's breathing heavy.
I know. I'm sorry. Just maybe sit. I know. Autumn, come on.
She said just maybe sit.
Autumn, come on, sit down. Sit.
If you sit, then we'll be good.
Yeah.
Sit.
All right. So cool. We're live here. We're good here. Well, Shayna, welcome.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, thank you for taking some time out. I know you're
it's okay.
down in the Valley area, and it's not an easy drive down here.
We're even from farther than that. We're from Oceanside. So I was just so I was commuting to Chatsworth for a while for work, just because Jared at Valley Customs is a good friend of mine. And so
actually I just talked to him about trying to doing something with him as
well. He's super cool. So he it was a temporary situation. I needed a shop for a little bit when I first came here and stuff. So that temporary situation ended up longer than usual, but I just recently found a shop a lot closer. I'm only traveling about like 35 minutes now.
From your house?
Yes, from my house. Gotcha. So I'm down, my shop's down in Temecula now. So
damn. Yeah, you're out there.
And,
gosh, it's hot out there right now.
Oceanside usually isn't bad, but Temecula gets well over 100 easily.
Had to drive all the way out to Moreno Valley today. For that pop-up. My sponsor got me,
I saw on your Instagram.
Yeah, my sponsor got me this pop-up here. I've been waiting for it for not way too long. That's the wrong way to put it.
Yeah.
I was supposed to have it by a certain date, and I've missed the last 2 events with it, but it's here. It's now. I got it. It's over and done with. And it came out actually like, I'm super excited with the way that it turned out. So worth the wait in the long run then. So, well, nonetheless, thank you for coming all the way down here, because I like doing them in person.
Yeah,
definitely more. We can do them online, and that works, and it's convenient for everybody. Mm-hmm. But face to face, seeing expressions, and
it's way better.
Oh, it's a much better hit. Yeah, for sure. So I appreciate you and your friend making the drive down. Thank you.
Laurel came with me, guys. Everyone on my Instagram knows Laurel. I post her a lot. Like everyone knows that she's my roommate. Like
is this the I don't know anything about it, but I saw, because Instagram thinks that we're talking, and now it just puts 13th Street Customs in my thing. Is this the non-eating of ice cream and waffles?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm so happy that you brought that up.
It was recent, so I just
yes, 100%. That I have a whole highlight on my profile of just really dumb shit of me and Laurel, because we have a lot of stories like that. So she's here with us today too.
How are you guys acquaintances?
This is great. Okay,
let's dive in.
I'm actually glad that she came with me, because I knew this story would come up, and here she comes. She's gonna roll over.
She's leading, and she's like, make sure you do not get anything wrong.
So I was in the market to move to Northern California, actually. Okay. So I was looking up there, and from Texas. I was living in Texas at the time. Born and raised in Pennsylvania, but I was living in Texas. And I was hitting every brick wall. I could not find a place. It just was not working out. People just weren't getting back to me. And I was like, this is dumb. So then somebody that I followed on Instagram posted that Laurel was looking for a roommate, and I was like, shit, what do I have to lose? So I went to this girl's profile. I had no idea who she was. Went to her profile. I was like, she looks kind of cool. No, not at all.
Okay.
So I messaged her, and I said, hey, I was like, I'm looking to move to California. I said, I'm not serious about this. I live in Texas. So if you have somebody local that that's probably your better choice. And so then we ended up talking, just texting back and forth. And then we called each other, and we both were like, I don't know if I want to do this. We were both on the same page. I don't know if this is a good idea. And then at the end of that conversation, I think was when we signed the lease. So then,
so this wasn't like you already established in a place, jumping in.
So, I had found a place.
Yeah.
But I needed a roommate.
Gotcha.
And they wouldn't let me sign anything until I had a roommate.
For the income, all that type. Yeah.
So literally we ended up signing a lease without even meeting.
So then she calls me it was, I don't know. It wasn't
that long after that. I think once you signed the lease, that solidified the commitment. I would hope.
Yeah, 100%. It was well, okay, here we are. So then she asked me after that, we signed the lease, and she was like, well, how are you getting to California? And I said, I don't know. I said, I have no idea.
So time out. Hang on. So first of all, you told her, I'm not even serious about this.
Yeah, she just said, I want to live in San Diego. And I said, okay, do it. And then she's like, I'm not serious. And I said, great, I need a roommate.
So this was just like I need a change in my life thing?
Yeah.
Is that what this was?
Oh, yeah. I was
gotcha.
going through some major shit. And I was just like, we're just completely starting over. I fell in love with California. I was getting all my work from out here anyway. I was traveling out here all the time. I said, I'm just going to live there. So then she's like, how are you getting there? I said, I don't know. Like, I'll figure it out, I guess, though. And she said, well, I have flight miles to Dallas. She said, I'll just fly to Texas and I'll help you move back. And I said, yo, lifelong friends of mine have never even offered to help me with that. So I was like, bet, like, get out here. So then she flew out there. And the first time we ever met in person we didn't even FaceTime or anything. The first time we ever just met at all, like, was
at the
airport when I picked her up.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how long ago was this now? How long was this?
March.
Yeah.
So March of this year then?
Yeah.
6
so
months.
And then Live Fast was in
June.
Yeah, that was just a couple months then afterwards. So then love at first sight is everyone going to know what I'm going to what I mean by that, but let's call 100%. It friendship at first
100%.
First sight then, right?
First sight?
Yeah. We clicked instantly. Like even because we even both said we both never wanted a roommate. Where I was like, I never want to live with anybody. She's like, me either. And I was like, well,
was it the comfort of just motocycles, or was it just
that's
like
the other
an
thing.
instant kind
we
of
had
thing?
so much in common. We both had Sportsters. We both had Tacomas. We both were going through. Yeah, we both have a cat. We both were going through some shit. So like we just really connected on just having a lot of similarities. But I mean, since then, like there has not been anybody in my life that's been like a best friend like she is. So you get all sappy.
That's dope. Hey, there ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, right.
Like I'm a pretty firm believer that things happen for a reason.
Oh, 100%.
And like I preach that. And sometimes I have to pause and take my own advice when it comes to that. But things happen for a reason, like you wanted to move to California at that time.
For sure.
Because if you decided I want to move to California 6 months earlier or 6 months later, well, then maybe you don't meet her and things 100%. Don't work out the way that they are, So I'm a pretty firm believer in faith, and you just have to, you kind of have to just jump off the ledge, so to speak.
Oh, yeah.
You kind of have
That's
to
my
dive
whole
in,
life. I'm a very spontaneous person. I just I don't think about things. Like I just do them because I want to do them. That's the other thing that me and Laurel are opposites on. So she like kind of grounds me every once in a while. I'll be like, I'm doing this. And she's like, Shayna, this isn't the most responsible thing that you could be doing right now. Like, so
we need people like that.
Yeah, 100%. But then she'll help me figure it out, like the responsible way to do what I want. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. And she cooks for me all the time. That I have a horrible diet. So we have this thing that like, and it's like a diet of a 12-year-old. Like I love like bagel bites and pizza rolls and like
you and I both
SpaghettiOs. So she has this thing that she makes adult versions of it that are just like the same thing, but out of healthy foods. So
okay. All right. Fair enough.
So
Getting
a work in progress.
Yeah, I'm not much of a cook myself, so I can definitely appreciate anybody that's gonna stand in front of a hot stove and cook anything, especially in this heat right now. This is brutal. You don't want to
barbecue now.
That's
if it's not hot in the house, I will barbecue.
Just barbecue. Yeah. What's your go-to?
Salmon, chicken.
There you go.
She makes the best. Oh my God. The other day she came to me and she said, do you like salmon? I said, I do, but I'm very picky about it. Like I don't know. I'm just very picky. I have never had meat melt in my mouth the way that salmon did. And let me tell you, I didn't know how I felt about it because like the way, like, I was like, meat shouldn't be doing this. I was like, I didn't know my mouth is so confused. Like, I don't know what to do.
Done right, it should.
But yeah, no, 100%. She killed it. So
ain't nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that then. So now, so now you guys are roomies, hanging out, besties, supporting each other, riding a lot. You guys ride often?
We ride all the time. She, like I say, she keeps me on track with even my business side of things. So she's pretty much just like my entire life now.
Good. So. Well, hey, there's nothing like you had a life-changing move. Like you moved from. I just came back. By the way, what part of Texas? I was
just north of Austin.
Just north of Austin. Okay. I just came back yesterday. I was out there visiting family. I was up there for 4 or 5 days.
Where at?
I was Conroe, just a little north of Houston.
Yeah, I know exactly.
Yeah, Woodlands area.
Yep.
Yeah, I definitely did not expect that much green.
Oh yeah,
and because I've been to Texas before, but a DFW area and that area, and it's very plainy and flat. And like a little dead a little bit. You know?
100%. Everything seems dead.
Yeah, and this was like tree. I literally felt like I was in a forest, like I was in Oregon or so.
That's how that is. Green. And then there's parts of way East Texas that are like that, and like Northeast Texas, and it's shocking sometimes. Yeah. So
and it rained there a little bit. They said they got a lot of rain there, so
there's a portion of the year that you will get a thunderstorm every single morning in Texas.
They actually said that it had cooled down a little bit. There was like a little not a marine layer. We call it a marine layer here, but just a little, kind of cloud
like
coverage. Yeah. And they were like, oh, this is the coolest that it's been in probably like 3-4 weeks or something.
Man, they say that, but I like the heat that I have experienced in California. Texas has nothing on it. It's way worse out here. There's no doubt. Yeah. 100%.
This week for sure. This has been
I've been struggling this week. I'm a lizard. I love the heat, man. I moved to the south for the heat, and like I've been struggling this week. This is excessive.
Yeah, this is pretty brutal. When we left, the heat wave just started here, and I heard it was like here in Ventura over 100. I'm like, it never gets that hot. Right? This is a beach town.
Oceanside was the same way. Yeah, I think we got over 100 a couple of days. And we usually don't like reach over 77 on a hot day. Like, so I'm like, this is insane.
Yeah, it was a little rough. In Texas, it was about 85, 90, but humid.
Yeah.
But humidity, and it's like we swapped weather for the time we were there. We left and it was hot here, and then we got there. They said it was a little cooler.
But so you lucked out a little bit.
Yeah. And I was like warm. The humidity wasn't killing me, but it was warm. Yeah. It was funny because like my kids and it was just a big family thing. And where we were staying, they have a pool, and they're like, he has a little thing to read the temperature. Actually, he's so geeked out on it. He's got like an iPad for his pool, like the whole thing. He's like, it's 87 degrees. And I'm like, that's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. And he's like, no, that's cold. I'm like, that's cold. I'm like,
I don't think so.
We're used to the Pacific Ocean. That's cold.
That is one thing I wasn't so I grew up on the East Coast, grew up going to the Atlantic Ocean and everything, and I'll swim in that in a heartbeat. I will not set foot in that ocean over here. It is way too cold. It is gnarly. Like, it makes the Atlantic Ocean look like the bay. Like, it is like just with like the waves and the currents and everything. I'm like, nope.
What's the weather? Cool. What's the water temperature like over there?
It's warm.
Tolerable.
It's so warm over there. Really? It's like you're probably looking at high 70s easily.
Pennsylvania, then that's like the Gulf. That's like the Gulf that area, right?
No, so Pennsylvania is actually northeast. So it's and it's not along the coast exactly. New Jersey separates it. So I was still like 2.5 hours from the beach when I lived there, but I was still pretty close. We went down to like the Outer Banks in North Carolina a lot. So we spent a lot of time down there. But Florida, we've been there a few times, and that has a really warm water too.
I'd imagine. Yeah, I can imagine that having warmer water. So Pennsylvania, then let's kind of. I mean, I know we we're talking a little bit over at Live Fast Rally, and that was a rally. We had a bunch of people. We were just having a good time drinking beer.
Yeah,
I was like, and you were, as stated, a little inebriated. Is that what we're gonna call
just
it?
A little bit, just slightly.
Well, if it means anything, I couldn't tell. I was having a good time, like you did.
I just remember ending. I don't even know how I ended up there. I was just talking on this podcast. And I'm like, I know none of these people, but here we are.
Trevor,
Trevor
walked you over. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Trevor was like, you got to meet her. And Trevor, that's the way Trevor
recall that.
Was.
Yeah.
So Pennsylvania, then let's kind of I guess, dive in a little bit. You originally born in Pennsylvania?
So born and raised in Pennsylvania. I lived there until I was 23, and then I moved to Texas. And then I was only in Texas for about a year, and moved.
And real quick, if you don't mind, how old are you now?
27.
Okay, so a lot's happened.
Yeah.
A lot's happened recently.
Shit ton, man. So I moved to Texas when I was 23, and then after a year, I moved back to Pennsylvania for about 6 months, and it was over the winter, and I was like, nope, I cannot do this cold anymore. Like
snow and stuff where you're at.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So I was like, once I experienced the South, I was like, nope, can't do this. So then I went back to Texas for about 1.5 years, 2 years, about 2 years, and then ended up out here. So
what was it about? Kind of, I guess. Has painting always been? Did you start painting in Pennsylvania? You started picking up a pen or
art? I grew up going to a bunch of art classes. Just like I didn't have an interest in it. Like I sketched a lot of stuff. My mom said I was good at it, and I was like, whatever. Like, you're a mom, you say you're good at everything. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm like, I don't know. And then so I did start try to take a few classes, and I hated it. I was like, this is dumb. I don't like this. Like, I don't like being told what to draw. I don't like any of this. Like, I don't like the whole like artsy point, like part of it. So then I don't know. I just didn't really, I wasn't really like into any of it. So I was like, okay, cool. So then
the classes aren't necessarily to teach you the skills. It's to teach you the history.
So I mean, like they were different. I took like a colored pencils class, and then like I took like a generalized art class that was like just random projects. It was like, here, draw this soccer ball or paint this asparagus or some shit. I'm like, this is dumb. Like, I'm not into this at all. And like my teacher was not, I mean, I say she wasn't nice, but we just didn't get along very well. So that didn't help anything. And then my senior year came along, and my parents had one rule that they pretty much take care of us as long as they could, as long as we went to college. Like that was the only deal, that we had to go to college, and then we had to pay for our own college. So my senior year came around, and my mom, it was like April of my senior year, and she came to me and she was like, you have to go to college or you have to pay rent, so you better figure it out. I was like, well,
pretty fair for most
like,
parents.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I'm not going to pay rent, so we better figure this college situation out. So then she was like, well, you like art and painting. And she wanted me to be like an airbrush artist. And she was like, well, you can't, because she did all the research on it. And she was like, you can't go to school for just being an airbrush artist. The closest thing you can get to it is painting cars. So like, why don't you go for that? And I was like, well, why not?
Your mom?
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, I was like, okay, cool. I was like, why don't I go to school for painting cars? So then I applied for this collision repair program at a local, it's a college of technology, but it's essentially like a trade school. And so it's a 2-year program, and I went for that. And then during that time, I worked at a restoration shop, and then I was a damage appraiser for a while. And during that time, I worked in some body shops and whatnot. And then I just started, when I started paint, like airbrushing and stuff, it wasn't until 2016. And the local artist was looking for an apprentice. His name is J.R. Fogelsonger. He goes by the Bizartist. He's an amazing helmet painter.
Dope.
And so he posted on his Facebook, and he was like, hey, I'm looking for an apprentice. I really want to like pass my knowledge on to somebody. And so somebody sent me the post, and I was like, well, like, what do I got to lose? So then I started going to him, and he's such a cool dude. We're still very good friends to this day.
He's in Pennsylvania?
Yeah, he's in Shippensburg, Pennsylvania. And
he still has a shop, all that stuff. What's the name of the shop?
He just goes by the Bizartist. That's just like his like general name.
Gotcha.
So I mean, to this day we keep in touch. He's super cool. Like, I love him to death. So that's how I started just like airbrushing in general. And then when I started, 13th Street Customs used to be 13th Street Airbrushing, and I lost my Instagram like same way, the whole thing. I was at 27,000 followers when I lost that Instagram. Man. So thankfully I gained them all back, but I was like, man, that was when I met Laurel. I actually was going through all of that, like with a bunch of like 5 other major life events were happening. And when I picked her up from the airport, she was like, I'm Laurel, it's so nice to meet you. And I said, I'm so happy you're here and it's great to meet you, but I'm going through some shit right now and I need to deal with this. So like, just give me like 5 minutes to figure this out, and then like I'll let you know. I was having her message my clients, like trying to find these people, because I'm like, they're gonna think that I just like disappeared, because like my Instagram was solely my business. So
that's frustrating.
Yeah, I was losing it. Yeah, it was horrible.
At 27,000?
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
So now, since I'm going through the same shit, I gotta ask: was it hacked? Was it
recorded? What happened? I don't know what happened. I honestly have no idea. I was on one morning, everything was fine, like I was scrolling through, and then I went to go open it up again, and Instagram came, like it was like those, I don't know, like an Instagram notification thing came up, and it said like, to ensure our community guidelines, we have to make sure that you're not a robot, which is dumb as shit, because like I talk on my Instagram all the time. My face is all over it. Like, it's obvious that I'm not a robot. So I was like, whatever. So it didn't give me any other option. I could not click out of it. I couldn't do anything but hit okay. So like, I was just like, okay, whatever. So then I hit okay, and then it gave me the message thing that said, like, here's 9 pictures, pick everyone that has like a stoplight in it. So that's what I did. So, and then it was like, cool, if we can verify your information, then you'll have access to your account within 24 hours again.
Same thing.
So then I was like, okay, like you should definitely be able to verify that. And it wasn't any personal information. So I was like, okay, no worries. And then like 6 hours later, it's just gone. Like, I went to go get on and it just doesn't exist. So then I was like, okay, so then you can't get a hold of Instagram, because you call their number, they say it's out of service. And then you email your email and they say it's out of service. So I'm like, okay, cool. And then when I finally, like, you try to appeal it or whatever, and it says, what account are you trying to appeal? And I say 13th Street Airbrushing. And they say, well, this account never existed. And I said, it definitely did. So then I was like, okay, no worries. I had a personal profile. I said, I'll just change that one to 13th Street Airbrushing because it doesn't exist anymore. So that username should be available. And then I'll just build this one. It's not a big deal. So then I tried to change my personal Instagram to that name and it says it already exists. And I'm like, does this account exist or does it not exist? Because I'm going to need to freaking know. And then I just gave up because I was dealing with so much other bullshit at the time that I was like, this is the least of my concerns right now. Like, I'll just deal with it. So
although you say the least of your concerns,
right.
It actually is, or it's a major concern. At least
I was panicking.
It's your business. It's your
so what
connection.
Actually saved me from it. Like at first I did panic. I called Laurel. I said, Laurel, my life just ended. Like because here I kept a lot of customer information on there too, just because I figured if my phone ever dies, if my computer ever crashes, I can always log into my Instagram no matter where I'm at. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Didn't think it would ever get taken down. So then what really helped me was like 3 people hunted me down that day and somehow found my number and were like, we want work done by you. Like, we saw you disappeared. We like got nervous. And then that's when I was like, it does not matter that I don't have that Instagram anymore because those 27,000 people still heard my name. Like, they still know who I am. They still have a general idea of who I am. Like, just because my Instagram isn't there anymore doesn't mean that they don't know who I am anymore. So they're still going to, if they want work done by me that bad, they're still going to figure out how to find me. So then I changed this new Instagram to 13th Street Customs, which kind of covers more of what I do anyway. I don't just airbrush. So I was like, it all works out. Like, there's a positive to all of this. And then one of my reels went viral and I got all of my followers back pretty much. So I was like, all right, cool. We're great.
That's where I'm back at right now. Yeah. And not nearly to the status or to the amount of followers, but I know what you mean because
100%. It's still that.
It's the energy, it's the work, it's the creativity, it's everything. You've put people that don't use it as a brand tool or as a business tool, they don't grasp that concept.
And like that's solely how I got all of my business. And especially last year, I did nothing from April to almost December. I did nothing but travel around. So all I would do is I would post like, hey, I want to go up to Sacramento this weekend. And like 3 people would be like, hey, I have some pinstriping jobs you can do. And then like I would just keep paying for it as I went that way. And so like that's my Instagram allowed me to be able to do that. It allowed me to go to Sturgis and work. It allowed me to do all of this stuff and work at those places. So I could do all of that. So that it was kind of tough at first, but great stuff comes out of everything.
Stuff happens. You'll hear me over and over. I've said it on 100 or not 100 other podcasts, but I've said it on other podcasts and I say it today. Things happen for a reason. And
100%.
I don't know what those, like all my Instagram crashing and being taken over. Very similar to what sounds like what yours was. It was all Instagram prompt related. It wasn't anything like, here, send me this link. It wasn't anything like that. It was all like, this is legit. This is through Instagram. This is 100%. Something, you know. And through it all, I think I guess, you're right. I went, okay, this isn't the most, although important, it's not at the, it shouldn't be at the top of my priority list of important things, but I've worked so hard. I don't want to just let it kind of go by the wayside.
No, 100%.
But it's, I left a bunch of stuff in there as well, like where I would schedule all of my podcasts and my things, because that's where I'm linking up with
I went back to our messages and Instagram to get the address, to get the time, all of it. I was like, I'd be like, I did that too. Like I lost like people's phone numbers and stuff. I had Laurel messaging people and like just give them my phone number, tell them to call me, like whatever they need. Like I will figure it out.
But I didn't know you had to deal with that recently.
Oh yeah. Either. So that was a grand old time.
Well, cheers to rebuilding.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, I'm doing the same thing right now. I'm like, I guess it opened up my mind a little bit, where I'm like, you know what? Maybe this is where I need to revamp or
exactly.
It's an opportunity to do maybe some of the stuff and advantage, like now that you're probably the same way.
Yeah.
Now that we had X amount of followers and we have experience on how to do this now. Before, when I was starting it, I had no idea. I literally had that phone mount right there. And that's all that I had. Like, and now look at me. I
literally said that. I was like, I built that with nothing. I said, so now that I have what I have and the resources that I do, I can do this way better, and I can do it with way more of a targeted audience and just all around way better. So it in the end, it worked out really well, because then there were people that started following that Instagram that I thought knew me for a while, but apparently didn't. So then I was like, you know what? You never would have found me otherwise.
Bingo.
So like, it just all works out. Like I'm very, very adamant. Laurel gets very irritated with me about it, but I'm so positive. Like I'm so adamant about being positive. I'm like, Laurel, I'm like, you can't, no. I'm like, that's way too negative right now. Like you got to switch this around, focus it on this way. Like, so that's just one thing that I'm very just adamant and very
that's a very
important to me.
It's a good mentality to have. It's hard,
it's essential
to do.
Like
it's not easy to do though.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, we were having this conversation today. I was like, it took me so like almost 8 years to get to this point. Like there was a specific day that I was just like, you know what, I don't want to be this way anymore. I don't want to think this way anymore. I don't want my life to be this way anymore. And then I mean, it's taken this long to get to this point, but at the same time, it's also brought me across the entire country to like one of the best places to live and one of the best things to do for a career. So I want to change it for the world.
No, it's I've myself have done what you said for years, and it's taken me 10, 15 years to train myself to think that way. And like, I mean, I lost me and my wife. 2019, I lost my dad at the beginning of the year, and we lost twin boys in October.
No.
2019 was a rough one.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there going, why? What's going on? What's happening? You know, what is it? What? And bottom line, after, you know, and I didn't find the reasons. And I still don't know the reasons, but I tell myself the reason. I'm like, hey, maybe something's going to happen with my wife, or my boys weren't going to, maybe these doctors didn't see something.
Yeah.
And you have to find a reason. And it takes a certain mentality
100%.
to come out on, because you can easily go down. And my dad who passed, he dealt with depression, and I saw him deal with it. And you can easily go down that road when a trauma type event happens. And it takes years to be able to have the mentality like you're talking about, to train yourself to do that, to move, and then to pass it on to friends and family and stuff like that.
Well, I still struggle with it. Like and that's the other thing is I call it spiraling. I'll go to Laurel and I'm like, I'm starting to spiral. Like I can tell when I'm like getting into that, where I'm getting into the habit, or I call it a comfort zone. Like when, so I've talked about it on a few other podcasts, but like I struggle with depression too and all of that. And so when it's taken me a long time to learn how to deal with it and learn how to work with it and like overcome it myself. Cause I also am corporate medicated, we'll say. I figured out my own ways and stuff like that, but I also I just learned to sense it because right. So but then so I call it like a comfort zone. Like there's a certain type of like sadness or just unmotivationness that is a comfort zone to me, because I'm like, okay, I'm used to this. Like I'm okay with this. This is where I expect everything negative to happen. So when it does, it's okay. Like all of this. And I know it's not a good area to get into, but I can feel when I start to get into that, then I know like, okay, I need to start doing some shit to like prevent myself from going any further. But it takes a long time to even recognize like when that happens, why it happens, like how to get yourself out of it. Like it doesn't happen overnight. That's the other thing about it, is it takes a long time, and you don't realize it. Like it's kind of like a habit thing. So, and I didn't even realize how long or how far I have come until I have tried to help other people with it. And I'm like, damn, like this is insane that like
unfortunately it takes going through things to get to the level that we're talking about.
That's the shitty part. That's the shitty part.
That's the catch-all of it.
Yeah, and like I say this, like I can sit here and say all the time, like it took me so long to get here, but it took a lot of bullshit to get here. Like there was so much stuff that happened to me that, I mean, it sure happened to me for a reason. I know that, but at the same time, I didn't freaking deserve it at all. Like so, it just it definitely is tough to get by, but at the same time, it's possible. Like there's no doubt about that. So
no, it builds character.
Oh yeah.
And the most important thing to do, and the way that you build that mentality, that kind of callous, so to speak, is you do have to deal with it, and you do have to go through it, and you do have to suffer a little bit.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you got to be low to be high.
I feel like a lot of people think that getting through their feelings and dealing with them is suppressing them, and that's not true. Like you have to literally sit with it. You have to sit. Like I had to sit here and like recognize like, okay, I'm feeling this way. So why am I feeling this? Or why am I being triggered in this situation that shouldn't be making me feel this way right now? So then like you have to really like dig into yourself and figure out where this is all coming from. And then like, you're like, okay, this makes sense. Like this, and like I'll even with if like Laurel's going through something, I'll sit her down and I ask nothing but questions. I'm like, okay, so why do you think we're feeling this way? Or first of all, how are we feeling? Like why do we feel this way? Where do you think it's stemming from? Like, and we get to the actual cause of it, and we're like, okay, 17 years ago this shit happened. So
you gotta peel that onion, right? You gotta peel that onion. That's life though, and it's good to hear that you are coping with it and you have learned how to cope with the ups and the downs and all the hardships of life, because life isn't a fairy tale. I mean, you can try and make it one, but it's a roller coaster.
When I was younger, I wanted my life to turn out like a movie so bad. I like saw the good in everybody. I'm like,
when you were younger, you still are young. What are you talking about?
I say
I'm an old ass man on the other side of this mic. You're old.
I don't feel 27 at all, man. At all. I say that. I don't I feel old. Shit.
And that's just from life, from dealing. Not everybody has to go hard lessons and life experiences will age you to a degree. It'll mature you. So you're 27 body wise and all that stuff and years on the earth, but sometimes people don't have to deal with losing their parent. I lost my dad in 2019, first parent I lost. All right. And some people don't have to deal with that until they're 60 years old.
Yeah.
I dealt with it at 36 years old, and things happen to I believe that things happen to people at a specific time for, like we said, for a reason,
Oh, 100%.
I lost my dad in 2019 at the age that I was, because he gave me everything, whatever it is, he gave me everything I needed. And I lost my boys to make me the type of man and dad that I am today. And now I'm a girl dad. That's it. I got 3 girls.
That's my dad. He has 3 girls
and both
too.
my dogs are girls too. Like I am.
You're in for it. Man.
Yeah, but I run the house though. Don't get me wrong.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna come back in like 10 or 12 years and ask you if that's still the case.
but shit happens for a type of reason.
Yeah. 100%. Like that's the whole thing with Laurel and I. There was so much shit that happened in Texas that forced me to California. That if they didn't happen, I probably wouldn't have been as adamant about coming out here right then and there. Like there was just so much shit that just pushed me to Laurel that then I'm like, okay, all of this is happening to get me to California. Regardless of all this is so shitty. Like I'm still getting to, and that's the other thing that I realized recently though, is I was so moving to California was a big dream of mine. So
congratulations.
Thank you. So looking back at it, I was like, man, I should have been enjoying that. I should have been basking in the fact that I just made one of my goals come true. But I was so caught up in all the bullshit situations that I was in.
The reasons that you left.
Exactly. I was so caught up in everything that was going on that it was so that time was so traumatic for me that I don't remember it almost. There's portions of our drive that I remember and stuff, but I don't remember the act of it just was all just a blur. So I'm like, man, that kind of is shitty to me that I don't remember a big goal of me living out a big goal of my life. So then that's and that was just recently that I realized that. So then I'm like, shit, even me being as positive that I am can get so caught up in bullshit and get into a spiraling thing like that. And it took me almost 4 to 5 months to come out of, even after I moved here, it took a hell of a lot for me to get myself out of that and finally be feeling okay, fuck yeah, we're ready, we're ready to be here and everything. So
welcome then.
Thanks.
I mean, I'm sure California and if you were coming out here for all that work, you were already out here as it was.
100%.
And where were you? I mean, I guess your work will probably take you northern, southern California, kind of take you all over the place.
Yeah, it took me all over. So I did a lot of airbrush events down here too at Coast Airbrush. He does. They do a lot of teaching events and stuff there. So that's what brought me to Southern California. And then I had a lot of friends and stuff in Northern California. I would go up and visit all the time. So I still have a lot of work that comes from the Bay Area. I have, I think 4 bikes right now from there alone. So
Bay Area's got a huge motorcycle scene.
100%. So
we think we know it's huge. Everyone knows it's huge in SoCal. I definitely feel like NorCal is probably just as big, but it's not as notoriety, I guess, as far as
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, because it's huge up there.
Oh yeah, it is. I mean, the whole state of California is baffling to me. Just the bike scene alone, just the bike scene, the custom paint scene in general.
From Pennsylvania and Texas,
that's what I'm saying.
I would say so.
It was life changing for me because the first time I was in California was only June of last year, so like a year and a few months ago. So I was and I never had the urge to come out here. Like, you just hear so much shit about it. So I'm like, I don't know. I don't feel like going to California like ever. And even the first time I drove out here, I like crossed the line and I was like in, I don't know, whatever those desert towns are. And I was like, man, this sucks. I was like, this is shitty.
Yeah,
I was
those
like,
desert towns suck.
Yeah, I was like, this can't be California. And then I got to, it was actually for a Coast Airbrush event. And I got there and I hadn't been to the coast yet or anything. So I was just like in Anaheim. And Dave actually said to me, he's like, you're going to end up living in SoCal one day. I said, absolutely not, Dave. I said, I would never live out here. I would even never, at that time, I was like, I would never even live in California. And then like 6 or 7 months later, I was sitting on the beach one morning and I was like, man, why don't I live out here? I was like, I come out here all the time. I spend so much money coming out here. The last like 4 times I took a trip out here, I was taking 3 or 4 bikes back with me, painting them in Texas, and then bringing them back to California. So I was like, you know what?
Come out here.
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna just move out here. Then that's when it triggered looking into NorCal and stuff. And then,
SoCal was the ultimate place. You're like, if I'm gonna move to California, the area, Oceanside, Southern California area,
actually
is the
not
place
at all.
that you would prefer to move?
Nope. I was dead set on NorCal. I wanted to live on the coast in the Bay, like so bad.
Like what part? Oakland?
No, I was looking more at like Livermore area, like kind of a little bit more inland.
Gotcha. Okay.
But I love San Francisco so much. It's still one of my favorite places in the world.
I like visiting. The Golden Gate Bridge is amazing, and its scenery is amazing. It's a beautiful city, but fuck, if you go downtown, it smells like piss and shit.
That's the other thing
everywhere
about, like,
you go.
Living up there.
But then again, on the flip side, to be fair, I telling you, I was just in Houston, and I'm like, I'm gonna go do some sightseeing. So I went to Houston, downtown Houston, and I'm like, my wife was there for like 5-10 minutes. She's like, get me the fuck out of here. It smells like it, and it did. It did. It smells like piss, and it
Austin's
smells like
the
home.
same way. Yeah.
So any metropolitan area you go to,
100%,
it's just gonna be that way.
So I was never south of Anaheim when I moved here. I was never in Oceanside. I didn't know what it looked like. I saw pictures of our apartment, but like I didn't know my roommate. I didn't know where I was moving to. I've never been there in my life. I've never seen, like, she sent me a picture of like down on the Strand one day of like the sunset. And I was like, that looks pretty dope. Like, I hope I like this place. So then like,
how can you not? Shit.
And then we're driving here from Texas, and we got here on the only day that San Diego has a torrential downpour. And it was so bad. Just all of it was horrible. And then
you're a California native? Okay.
Yeah,
born and raised then. Okay. And that area native?
So San Diego,
San Diego native. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You're, I guess, same thing. When I'm like, shit, I'm a Ventura native. Shit, I've been here like all my own.
That's so wild to me. I love it. Like I just the thought of growing up out here is so insane to me. Like if people
in California or Ventura,
California, I wish I could take everyone to my hometown because they would understand why I'm so amazed by all of this. Like I am from a hometown that is less than 2,000 people. There is still people with.
What's the name of it?
It's called Coreyville. Y'all can Google it. Like it is an Amish town. There's
Corey.
Q-U-A-R-R-Y.
Coreyville. Okay.
So there's still horse and buggies. Like there's still like I shit you not. Like there's 2 stoplights. Like I am there.
And now look at you on the flip side, all tatted up, like piercings and shit.
So, I go home and they're like, "What the hell, Shayna?" It's like, yeah, it's crazy. Like,
so did the tattoos and everything come from Texas? Where did that start to?
It started in Pennsylvania, and I got my first one. It's on my back in between my shoulder blades, and it's a memorial piece for my grandfather. And after I got it, I got it on my 18th birthday. And after I got it, I said I would never get another one. I said I would never put myself through that. That was who does that? I said, who would want to do that ever again? And then the second, I don't know what happened, but like 4 months later, the second one was on my ribs. I have a feather on my ribs. I was like, damn.
Like, that sounds like a
right.
Good
I don't know what
for number 2.
Right. I was just like, fuck it, let's go. So then that was number 2. And then I started to get my sleeve. And then I don't know what got into me, but I really wanted my chest piece. I have a gnarly owl and skull and stuff. And my mom was not a fan of my tattoos. Like after the first one, she's like, okay, no more until you move out. And
most parents aren't.
100%. You know? And then I got the second one. She's like, no more until you move out. And then I got the third. She's like, and then I just stopped telling her I would get them. And I would just like send her pictures after they're done. And I'm like, here they are.
Yeah.
And then
can't change it now.
So right. So then I really wanted my chest piece. After every single one, she's like, are you done now? And I'm like, maybe. And then I came to her one day and I was like, Mom, I really want a chest piece. And she was like, okay. And I was like, what? Okay. I was like, I'm going to take a sign to do it then. So then like I went and did it. And it's actually one of her favorite ones. She loved it. So then after that one, she kind of like, she was cool with it. And then I didn't tell her I was getting my neck done. And that was when I moved. It was like 2 weeks after I moved out here. And
so it's pretty recent then.
Yeah, I just got that done. And I posted it. Well, I texted her right before my appointment. I said, Mom,
what does it say, by the way?
It says one side says live to ride, and then the other side says ride to live.
Oh, shit. Yeah, it is both sides. Yeah. Okay.
I think I had one side at Live Fast. I didn't have the other side yet.
Gotcha.
So I texted her as I was getting it done. I said,
halfway done.
Yeah, I was like, you might see some posts today that I'm getting a neck tattoo. Just an FYI, don't freak out. Like, and she never answered. So I was like, oh shit. I was like, I finally crossed the line. I said, I found the line and I crossed it. Here we are. And so then she like didn't text back.
Does she have any?
No, but she wants one so bad, but she thinks she's like too old. And I said, just get it, Mom. I said, who cares?
Yep.
So then and it's like not abnormal for us not to talk for a few weeks or whatever. So she didn't talk to me for a little bit. So I was like, okay, like maybe I should call her. And I called her and she ignored it. And I was like, oh man.
Oh man, like, you struck the nerve.
Right? So then she like called me back like 3 days later and she's like acting okay. And I said, are you mad at me? And she said, no, why? And I said, I got my neck tattoo. And she's like, oh no, I don't care. I said, you ignored my call the other day. She's like, yeah, I was in a meeting. I said, can you tell me that next time?
There's a quick reply that says, I'm busy. I'll call you back.
At least, come on, Mom. And then I got the other side. Well, then I got my cheeks pierced, and she was not a fan. That one she wasn't happy about. She was just like,
really? The neck tattoo, she was a little bit more accepting, but the piercings that you can take out and remove, she was a little bit more.
I was like,
that doesn't make sense.
Right. And
sorry,
again,
Mom.
I know.
It doesn't make sense to me.
Doesn't. So then I didn't tell her about that one at all. I just posted it. I was like, here they are. Like, got my cheeks pierced. So I didn't even I didn't even know if I was gonna get them done. I've wanted them done forever, but I was like, I don't know.
Were they done at Live Fast?
Yeah, they were fresh at Live Fast. I thought
they were in it. I'm like,
a week old.
Because they're.
I was chugging hot sauce at Live Fast. I was not supposed to be doing any of that because they were freshly. I wasn't supposed to be drinking. I was supposed to. Oh, he's gonna kill me if he hears this. So I was supposed to only.
We'll make sure that he gets a hold of it.
I was only supposed to have hard seltzers. So I went to the bartender. I said, all I can have is hard seltzers. She's like, well, I got like a vodka soda water. And I said, bet. I was like, that works for me. And oh man, she definitely took care of me that day because I was hammered. But so they were fresh at Live Fast. So when I just posted them, she didn't really say anything. And I called her and I asked her and I said, how do you feel? And she's like, I'm not going to say anything. And I was like, all right, that's fine. Next subject. Like, what's up? So then, I guess they don't care. They didn't really say anything. My dad knows not to say anything though. He's like, okay. Just let her do what she wants.
Mean, it's one of those things. My mom wasn't a fan of the very first tattoo that I got, and it was of my daughter's name.
My mom was like it was my mom's dad for his memorial. So she came with me actually, and she was super stoked about it. And like she helped me design the piece and everything. And then after that, but as I get older, she's super like different. I don't know how.
Well, do all of mine I can confidently say have some form of
absolutely
meaning.
Not. Nope.
So not all of yours have a meaning of any kind?
No, I get,
or at least not. There's got to be a story to it at least.
I got good stories, no doubt. So
give me one of your tattoos that has no meaning to it, and you just got it.
I got the word fuck tattooed on my leg.
I guess that would probably have no meaning to it.
So I did that myself, actually. I tattooed the word fuck myself on my leg. So my best friend Angel is a tattoo artist in Phoenix.
That was a point proven very quick. I got the word
no, 100%. So I was getting my wheel and wings. And I was like, man, Angel, I said, I want the word fuck tattooed on me because I said, I mean, I probably still do say it a lot, but I say it all the time. It's one of my favorite words. It's so versatile. Like, it's great. And so
it makes me think of my buddy Mike, who I just did a podcast with. And when I was editing a portion of it, I must have heard that word 20 times in like 2 minutes.
It's so bad. I don't even realize I do it. And even when I try not to cuss, I think like I still do. And I'm like, whatever. So then I was like, yeah, I want fuck tattooed on my leg. And he was like, okay. He's like, do you want to do it? And I was like, well, fuck yeah, I do. I was like, what kind of question is that? And so then he drew it on there for me, and then I tattooed it. And
where is it?
There. It's on my.
Is it on the bottom?
No, it's on my ankle, right there.
Oh.
So it just says fucking cursive. It's real fancy. It's all elegant and stuff.
And you did the whole. Did he have to go back over it or anything?
No, not at all.
100% you.
Yeah,
right
that's all me.
And how did it feel tattooing? I don't think I've tattooed myself because I'm. No, I don't think I've put anything on.
I actually didn't mind it because I was so focused on how I was doing it and what I was doing that like.
Well, as an
I just
artist,
wasn't paying attention to it. Yeah,
sketch and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I was just like, okay, it didn't feel nearly as bad as what I thought it was going to.
Is that the first and only tattoo gun you have picked up and ran? Have you tattooed anybody else?
I tried. Oh man, that was like, I would say probably like 7 years ago. We were super drunk at a party.
That's usually how it goes.
It was sterile. I will say that.
Starts.
But like, so we were all drinking and my friend Chris was like, yeah, I got these like tattoo machines or whatever. And they're like, Shayna's an artist. She can do it. And I'm like, fuck yeah, I am. Let's go. And so then I tried to tattoo what was it? I think a dragonfly on my friend Adrian's ass.
Did you freehand it or did you stencil
I freehanded the fuck out of that thing. And let me tell you, it does not look like a dragonfly.
Did you even Sharpie it or anything?
No. I was just like, let's go. Like, then we're doing this. You want a dragonfly? I'll give you a fucking dragonfly. It did not look like a dragonfly.
I imagine.
I don't think it's there anymore. Like, I don't even think that it
did like, something over.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think I went deep enough because I was so scared. I was like, how? Like, I don't want to like. I don't know. It was a lot.
That's why you have to apprentice for that shit.
So then when Angel was with me, he would like tell me like how deep to go and stuff. He's like, okay, don't go any deeper. And I was like, okay, then I can do this.
You got the flow.
Yeah. Then he would just like coach me through it. So he's been trying to get me to start tattooing for years though. So as soon as I like even said anything about it, he's like, let's go. And I'm like, all right.
So on the painting side of it, then you started at a body shop, right? Or a apprentice program then.
So it was actually you got an associate's degree in it, so that was the really cool part about it. Not that it matters these days, but at one point a college degree was cool.
It means something.
I mean, it's still an accomplishment that I'm pretty proud of, and plus it gave me such a good foundation because I learned so much there. Like I learned how to weld, I learned how to.
And this was in Pennsylvania that you did.
Yes.
This trade program.
Yep.
Then.
It's called Thaddeus Stevens College of Technology, and
trade programs. I am a huge advocate for training.
Oh, 100%.
Trade schools.
Me as well. I think they are amazing.
They will always be needed. Mm-hmm. Welders, painters, fabricators, woodworkers. Yep. They will always plumbers. My father-in-law's a plumber. You're always going to need a pipe. There's no way you can transport water wirelessly, Bluetooth, anything like that. You're gonna need a plumber.
Yep.
Yeah. Trade school, and they're cheaper than trying to go to a 4-year university.
Both my sisters went to a 4-year university, and they are still in debt.
Are you the youngest?
Yep. I'm the baby.
You're the baby.
I'm the baby of the family. So yeah, they both are still in debt, and I'm over here like.
That's the other thing with college is that you put yourself in a pretty good size hole right out of the gate.
And I don't think it's like stressed enough that if you're going to put yourself in a hole like that, that it better be something that you can pay it back for, like that you can comfortably be living off of for you to be spending that much to learn about it.
I've heard of people in their 40s, 50s still paying for college debt. To this, they're never going to use it. It's insane to me.
So, and that's the other thing about it is like we like that that college also had like a 96% rate of getting a job as soon as you got out.
Yeah,
so like, and then
they helped place you.
Yeah. 100%. Right? There was 80% of us that already had jobs before we even graduated. I was working part-time at a body shop 2 nights a week, and then damage appraising 1 night a week, and just doing it after hours. And that's how I started on it. And then when I graduated, I went full time. So
so besides the, your mom telling you, hey, go and paint cars, prior to that, did your dad or family, were you working on cars or like automotive stuff prior to that suggestion?
My dad jokes that I'm the son that he's never had because he got stuck with all girls. And
one of my girls is gonna have that same title.
I was always the one that went to, like, he took me to monster truck shows. My 13th birthday was a monster truck show, which I love that because I went and saw the Gravedigger. I was a huge fan of him, and now I know the painter of the Gravedigger. So like it was like a full circle moment for me when that all happened. I was like, oh my god. So
that's an iconic 4x4.
100%. Yes. So that was really cool. But yeah, so I always went to the shop with him. He was a construction worker, but he still did like a lot of mechanic stuff and like still had his toys and stuff. So we were always like working on stuff. And then I was always the one that would want to ride on the bike. I remember one 4th of July, I told him it was only me and him going to my mom's house actually. And they have a funny relationship. They get along, but they give each other a lot of shit. So I told him, I said, I'm not going unless we take the bike. And he's like, well, I have to take deviled eggs for your mother, Shayna. And I was like, well, we better figure it out, Dad, because I'm not going if it's not on the bike. And by the time we got there, it was egg salad. And my mom was so pissed. But we went on the bike. I was like, sweet. So
you had a little bit of, some of it then.
100%.
Like
I wanted to be like, when I was little and stuff, like my whole dream when you want to grow up, I wanted to be a mechanic. I wanted to like work on engines and work on cars and stuff. So the cars part that's like where my mom got the cars part from, which I'm kind of glad I didn't go that route because I dabbled in it a little bit and it's so mind blowing to me. Like I'm sure if I learned
Painting
it, I'm good.
Cars?
No, the like mechanic side of it. It's like insane.
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing.
I didn't even know that like painting was going to be such a passion until I started doing it, and then I fell in love with it, and I was like, damn, this is exactly.
Well, it's a great way to be able to like release the creativity.
It's 100%.
Everything that like you,
it's absolutely unlimited what you can do with paint. Like there's so much that you can. There's stuff that I haven't even thought of yet that I can do, and it's just I'm stoked about it. So
that's the that's the gene that like artists have or creators sort of have. It's kind of funky for me to do it in this fashion. I do a similar thing where it's like you got to create, your image and your shit,
Yeah.
So now you're over at, where are you at now? Like,
what do you mean? Where do I live or where do I work?
No. Like, where are you painting like right now? Are you running your own? It's just 13th Street Customs? So
yeah. So technically I rent out of a body shop. I go in after hours and I pretty much just use the shop opposite of their schedule. So I'm still.
You're doing your own.
Yeah. I'm my own business 100%. Okay. I started that in 2016 and, I went full time with it in 2017. Mostly I'm a horrible employee. I cannot work for anybody. Even even doing the exact same thing that I'm doing right now for somebody else, it does not go the same. Like it doesn't go as smoothly. I'm not as happy about it. Like I don't know what it is, but I do the best work for myself by myself. So like that's where I got the whole like just on my own thing.
I always give the advice, and you're as a painter, you correct me if I'm wrong, because this is the advice I've given to anybody that I've worked with on paint is I give you some colors, I'll give you a concept, and not even a concept. I'll kind of give you some colors and just maybe some don'ts, some simple don'ts.
Yep.
Like I don't like skulls.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Perfect.
And then after that, my input to people is that's it. Leave it at that.
Well, I also think people don't understand the importance of finding an artist you like for that reason, because the whole goal is to not have to coach them through it so specifically.
Correct.
If you have a very specific vision, that's great, but there's artists that work best with that. Like that's what I like try. There's some clients that come to me and they're like, well, I like this style and this style. And I'm like, well, that's not particularly my style. So you should find an artist that is their style. And then all you have to do is give them colors and you're going to like it no matter what.
And that's good that you do refer or,
100%.
Because, and I think, and I say that because the reason that I suggest people to go here, give them colors, and give them maybe one or two don'ts. Like, I just don't like skulls. Don't stay away from that.
Yeah.
And then other than that, let them go, because these are artists, and you have to recognize and realize that painters want that's their work. If it doesn't look good, they're not going to come to 100%. You and do the work. So they want a product that looks awesome out of the gate.
I don't know. It's just, I love what I do so much. Like, I can't, I'm so happy about it, but I love when they give me free reign on it, especially like, because people ask me all the time, like customers are like, do you sketch out something or do you do a test panel? I said, look, I can, but it's still not going to look anything like it. Like, I'm going to come up with so much different shit along the line, or so many different ideas as I go, or something. This is the best one. Something's going to fuck up and it's going to end up looking really cool. Yeah. And it's going to be something that I could have never envisioned in the first place. So
I tried to do because it was an accident.
And then I'm not limiting myself to something that I previously drew out. So I was like, you know what? I just run with it. I pick colors. I start laying tape. Half the time, I don't even know the orders that I go like with the colors. I'm like, I don't know what colors are going to go where, but this is the design that I want to do, and I'll figure the rest out later. I can't envision stuff at finish. Like, somebody, like a customer will come to me and they're like, well, I can't wait to see it. Like, what do you think it's going to look like? And I'm like, I don't know. I can't wait to see it either. I'm pretty stoked about it. Like, I could not, I don't look at a bike and I'm not like, this is what it's going to look like, and now I have to execute that. I look at a bike and I'm like, these are our colors. Like, all right, let me start by painting it. I'll start with this color, then I'm gonna start laying tape, and then I'll see where it flows that day. Some days it flows great. Some days I just rip it all off and I
take it back off.
Yeah. But that's just, I don't know. That's how I do it.
That's paint work though. I have some background in like paint and body, and my old man and my uncle, who actually is here in town visiting from North Carolina.
I think we talked about this at Live Fast.
We may have. My dad, my uncle who's visiting, he sold his paint and body place when he was here, and his house, and that's what took him in North Carolina. It was when the market was crazy and he got an offer he couldn't refuse. But he had his own paint and body shop, and my dad started working with him, and they kind of opened it together, but they had been doing it since they were young bucks. I mean, like 15. They were just figuring out how to do it, right?
Yeah.
And he turned it into a business and insurance work and all that stuff. And I stared working with my old man, and that's a whole nother thing. Working with family, boy.
I understand that.
Yeah, uncle and dad. That was. But I have some background in it, and just growing up with it. Like, my dad would have me over there we had a ranch over here, and his friends would bring their Impalas and stuff like that, and they do their work and stuff. So I just grew up around it.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
Learning how to do it, and just kind of, and for a little bit I did it as it was how I got paid. It was my gig,
That's so cool. I wish I grew up doing stuff like that. I tell people that all the time, and they're like, you still started so early. Because I'm like, I wish I started earlier. And they're like, you started at 18. How much earlier could you start? And I'm like, man, I wish I grew up with it. Like, that would have been dope.
It's fun. But then look at me on the other side of it. I didn't end up being with it, and you not growing up with it. Now it's your career. Now it's your
the whole
career.
Everything happens for a reason thing.
Exactly. And I like doing it. Don't get me wrong. I always enjoyed what I enjoyed most out of it, and still I do to this day. Like you notice with the yard and the house and stuff, right? I get joy out of like making something that looks like a total piece of shit.
Yep.
And then just the finished product and stepping back and going, I did that.
And 100%.
And then after that, I'm like, I'm okay with like, okay, I did that, and then I can move on to something else. Like, that was cool. I created that. Let me go create something else type thing.
Exactly.
That's what I always got out of it.
I love painting for that. Cause like, I'll stand back from something and I'm like, there are some jobs that I'm like, fuck, dude, I did that. Like, that's dope of me. Like, I don't know how, like, my two hands created that. And like, that's so cool.
Depending on the how much, because you will put hands on it in every way. It sounds like you'll do body work. And
I do the whole process.
You're not just painting. You're not saying bring me finished product or bring me prep product and then I'll put my touch on it. That's
why I'm also super thankful for the collision background, because it does give me that foundation that I can do the entire process. But that's also part of my fulfillment in it. And like, so many people and so many shops have tried to tell me, like, if you just focus on one thing, or if you just focus on painting, you're going to get so much more done. And I'm like, it's not necessarily just about that for me though. Like, I get so much fulfillment from standing back from a bike and thinking like, I did that entire thing. Like, there's a Sportster I have right now that had a dent in the tank that I'm about to put a flame job on it. And once that's done, I'm going to look at the pictures of the dent, and I'm going to look at it at finish, and I'll be like,
I did that.
Yeah, I did that. That was me, like all of that. So like from start to finish, like, and it's even cooler to me because each step of that process is an art in itself. Like from the prepping to the painting to even wet sand and buffing is an entire art in itself. So the fact that like I just like so I seek fulfillment in life. I seek not necessarily happiness, but I seek fulfillment first and foremost. Like if this fulfills me, then that's great. And like that's the one thing that does is like just knowing that I did that entire thing and like I have worked on all of these skills to put them together to do this. And then it's also like just a selling from a business standpoint, it's a selling point. Cause I'm like, this is your one-stop shop. Like you don't have to take your parts to 8 million different places.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to worry about transporting them, all of that. Like you're going to drop your parts off and then you're going to come back and they're going to be done.
And one of the most important things, and most people do, but tend to forget, the most important part of a paint job is prep.
Oh, I say that all the time, man.
You say it because it's factual, and it is. Like not only painters know, other people do know, but me having done it, I did it for a long time, and if I still needed to do it today, I probably need to brushing up on my skills of
But you have that foundation.
Out. But I got it there. It's like you got to just kind of bring it back to life, so to speak. But Oh
yeah. So there's two quotes that really stuck with me from school. And one of them was a painter is only as good as his prepper.
Yep.
And then the other one was 100 things could go wrong in a paint job and 99 of them will. But how you come back from them is what makes a good painter great.
That's true.
So I have learned way more from any mistake that I've made than any good paint job that has come out.
You can get a nice little runner of a booger going down a panel.
Let me tell you, I run the shit out of so much. Like if I am almost not happy if I'm not running it. I'm like, come on. Like
if there's no runner on it, then you didn't put enough clear on it.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm
like, come on now. Like I'll have runs on shit and people are like, are you gonna get that out? But you don't know me,
that's
man.
Easy,
you don't know
no problem.
Right? Like it's funny sometimes. Like I just did that white Sportster and I was like walking around it and I was so stoked about it. And I found this little run on the tank and I was like, there she is. I was like, there's my little signature. Like, there was a phase that I went through when I worked at Jared's, and he'll say it because he made fun of me for it, that the longest time I ran the same exact spot on every single tank that I painted. It was the right front every single time, this little spot. And it was like the same exact, like
same droop
every single
everything.
time. I'm like, at least I'm consistent.
That's it.
Like,
you know the rest of the tank got the same finish going on around it.
I was like, this is great. So
well, that's the good thing about having, if you do all the prep, because start to finish, someone's not just bringing something to you and you don't know what's underneath
100%.
And what products were used.
Yep, all of that.
Yeah, because all that goes into play.
Yeah, a lot of people don't get that about paint, where they're like, somebody asked me, they said, what could go wrong in a paint job the other day? And I'm like, everything.
It could be too hot outside. It could be too cold outside.
The paint could just not want to do stuff that day. Like it's temperamental in itself. Like it has its mind of its own. Yep. So like it just.
I put too many drops and it's the wrong tint.
Yeah, you breathed on it wrong. Like it's ridiculous what could go wrong with it. So it's so funny to me. The people just don't realize everything that does go into it. And that's like, I have been looking for my own spot to own shop to rent and stuff. And everyone's like, well, why can't you just do this? And why can't you just do this? And I'm like, you don't get it. Like I have to have like a specific area. I have to have like, it can't be around other like mechanic shops. Cause like, there's so much that they spray that will get in the air. There's been a time that I have painted and there has been like a bike shop that has been 4 bays down from me. And there were certain days that they would spray stuff and it would totally fuck up everything that I was doing. And I was like, well,
now you got fish eyes.
Yeah, literally fish notorious for it. And I'm like, can you guys let me know when you're going to be like cleaning up bikes and spraying that shit and doing everything? Yeah. I'm like, can you I need a warning here. So
yeah, it's
ridiculous.
It's a clean environment. It has to be a very clean environment. Tack rag everything before you go through it. People don't understand the process of it. They always see the pretty, which is always great. And that's nice and all. But the blood, sweat, and the tears, and
people don't know how many of my tears are in that clear coat, man. There are so many jobs that I have literal tears in that clear coat. I'm like, you know what? This is gonna be my reducer tonight because shit, this is going not great. As
a painter, you're like, oh, clear coat, but then there's the wet.
Especially this white one, I stressed about the clear coat because like when it's not
White's
clear,
usually white.
Oh, it's hard because like
white's forgiving.
So once it's done, it's great. But actually painting it, if you have the simplest speck of dirt in there, you are so screwed. And then when it comes to graphics, white's the thickest color. So like you have to take that into consideration. And if you reduce it at all, it's going to become transparent. So it's just a lot to deal with. But when like it was coming to the final clear and like on black paint jobs or even like crazy graphic jobs, you can hide a lot of stuff. Like if a lot of just stuff that happens in the clear, no worries. But white, man, you have one shot at it, and like before the clear, I can fix anything. I'll figure it out. It's not cleared yet. You can fix it. You know what I mean? But after, like, once you spray that clear, if there's anything on it, you're a day behind at least now. So I'm like, shit.
I guess that makes that does. I did paint. Now I never really got into the painting portion of it crazy. Yeah. I was mostly fabricate, body work, prep. Kind of just get it. And then my uncle would like spray it and do shit like that. And I would go spray some panels here and there, but I'm I never got into like the painting portion of it. More of the hands dirty.
Now white hides everything. Like how black exposes everything, white hides absolutely everything. You have a dent, you have a ding, paint that bitch white. You will not be able to see it.
You won't see any of that. But when you're painting it,
when actually if you have any dirt in there, anything at all, like
black anything.
Especially if you even if you sprayed black out of the same gun and like 3 days before that, like a lot of people will have separate guns for separate colors for that specific reason. I'm not that fancy, so
a question? I've been out of the what do you use for a gun? Is SATA still a big name in the game?
SATA is still a very big name, but I'm an Iwata person through and through.
Iwata?
Yep, I love Iwatas. Okay. So from my brush to my actual clear gun, it's all Iwatas. I like the Vilbis too. They're I forget where they're from actually, but they're a really, really good company. My first paint gun ever was a DeVilbiss, so I still do love them, but
big name in the game as well.
100%. But Iwata has definitely taken over my heart and joy. I love it so much. I tried using SATAs for a while, and I have a SATA mini jet that I really, really love. I love their little mini gun.
Small hand ones.
Yep, I love that one. But I used a full size one for clear for a while, and I was not as stoked on it. Like I had a lot more problems with it than when I spray with Iwata. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just stick to my Iwata.
I've seen now they have I don't remember what show it was. I was watching it. Anyways, they have a light on them now when you're spraying. So they have a big giant sunlight on them.
So it's a Luma 3. They're really cool. I'm gonna have to tell them that we talked about them in this podcast now. They're in Kansas, I think. They and people say all the time, they're like, man, you have such well lit booths. Why would you need this? And I'm like, you don't understand the stuff that even with the most lights, you have no idea the stuff that you will miss unless there is a light directly up on it until you take it out in the sun, and then it's magnified as shit. And I'm like, you know what?
I don't want to give any trade secrets, but sometimes when we would have a car that wasn't we'd leave it when the customer came to pick it up. Like insurance work, of course, custom
rainy
work
days.
Different. When the customer would come, when the customer come and pick it up, we're like, hey, make sure we have that one inside. Before, like, I don't want to give. Listen.
So many times we're like, oh, it's raining today. Thank God. Like, I'm
we
so
can let that car go. Yeah, but it's until you get it out into the sun, and that's how we would tell, like, full spot on. We're like, okay, we can see it in the booth. Looks okay in the booth. You're looking down the side of it, fluorescent light, looks cool. Then you roll it out into the sun. You're like, what the fuck?
We're like,
is that?
Then I question myself. I'm like, wait. Come on now.
Yeah, it can't be that fucking bad.
I'm like, oh, no, come on. How did I miss that? I'm like, shit. I do that all the time, man. It's so bad.
Yeah, prep work is the key.
Oh,
Prep. So it's good that you control that. That you have hands on.
And that's the other thing about, I did have a prepper for a little bit, and like, I loved him. He was great. But at the same time, I also like when I prep my own stuff, because then if anything does go wrong, it's all on me. Like, I have nobody to be mad at. I have nobody to blame. I have nobody that like, I just like feel any sort of way about. So I was like, you know what? Because I remember I had this one. It's one of my favorite jobs I've ever painted. And it was this orange to red candy fade. And I did it, and it was all custom from the base coat to the candies. I mixed it all custom, which nice. I don't know why I do that, because like
then you can never mimic it again.
Yeah, I'm just like, whatever. So I did it, and then like I sprayed it, and there was sand scratches in the bag lids, and I was like, you pleasant person, I'm so happy that you're here, but shit. I was like, come on. But so after that, I was like, you know what? I just like having control of everything. I like doing everything the way I like it. Like, because even so, like, I could have the best prepper for me, but he might find stuff like he might just do it differently than I like it done. So
what do you leave your final paint grid?
So
before you lay, I'm sure a sealer probably goes on to it.
It depends.
Before.
So if I prime it, I won't seal it because then it's just primer's my sealer. So I prime almost everything. So I'll strip almost like everything that comes in the shop. Pretty much if it's not a factory job, and even then a lot of the times I'll strip them down. But I'll just take them down to complete bare metal, then prime them and everything. So then I'll sand the primer with 400 and then 600, and then I'll go over it a little bit with a Scotch-Brite, actually, which a lot of painters,
like a gray one,
a gray Scotch-Brite, and a lot of people
right before.
Yeah, well, just like whenever
that's kind of your final.
So I kind of just because a lot of the stuff I'll even prep with a DA too. So I won't just I'll either wet sand it with a DA. Obviously, there's two options, but like the white sports jar I prepped with a DA. Then I went over by hand with a Scotch-Brite, and I just like it because it gets into like all the little areas and stuff, and it softens everything out. Especially if you are using a DA, it kind of gives that rigidness on especially the rounded parts.
I got you.
I realized that the East Coast does things a lot differently than the West Coast as far as prepping and everything else. Like we use,
in a good or a bad way,
just in a different way. Yeah, just a different, not any like not good, not bad, just different. And like I do remember
what's the difference.
So there's a lot more like just wet sanding out here than we would dry sand a lot with a DA on the East Coast, and that's how we would prep a lot of stuff.
All the way up to final before paint.
Yeah.
Really?
Honestly, there were times
with 600.
Yeah, there were times not wet.
Wow.
There were times that I have dry sanded to buff. I have dry sanded with 1500 and then 3000 and buffed it out.
That I would do on a buff, on a clear coat.
Yeah.
Dry sand with like 15.
Yeah.
Knock it down a little bit.
So then that's.
But damn, you gotta not wet sanding prior to it. To me is foreign because that doesn't.
It's foreign to everybody. And then when I came out here, everyone was like, "Oh, you're gonna wet sand that?" I was like, "I don't." To me, when I learned, I didn't wet sand anything until like to buff. That was what you did to buff was wet sand. Like everything else we prepped. Like
really,
yeah.
I was taught, like, this is what my old man taught me, and you kind of, it worked and it made sense with the wet sanding, is because it was wet, I can at least see what it would look like sense. with a clear coat on it.
Yeah.
So I can just look down and just wet it with a rag and go, it needs more, something like that. So
exactly.
That's what I was like, at least that's the wisdom I was passed on.
I was told that wet sanding kind of softens the grid a little bit. It's not as sharp, so then it's not like, but with what I'm doing and how much paint I'm layering, I almost need it to. Like I would like that bite to be a little bit extra, especially when I'm doing like a heavy flake or something, or like a just something along those lines in the base coat. I would like it to be just a little bit more textured.
That makes sense too. And if you're doing that many layers of paint, you're going to be able to, as we would call it, kind of bury that inside of
because you're taping on it a lot, and like when you're putting an adhesive on it, then taking it off, of course you want the paint to stick. So
but even at 600, that's still pretty fine.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Once like my dad would get like with like silver, he would like fucking be on my ass with silver. He's like, silver, I will see any scratch.
Silver sometimes I will go up to 800 if I'm doing, but a lot of the silvers that I do are with like a heavy flake in it, or like for a silver flake. So it's
a lot then. How many coats of clear are you putting on a heavy flake to get it? Are you
like 4 to 6
just on the first one, then sanding and then another application, or just 4 to 6?
So I'll do 4 to 6 and then sand it and see what it does. It depends what flake. I use a lot of micro flake. There's very rarely that I will use any large. It's very, I don't think I ever have, to be honest.
Really?
I use a lot of like the very, very small. So I'll do like 4 to 6. Now I use a Shopline 2.1 production clear for that, and then for the final clear I'll use their JC 7200. I just switched to that, which I love. It's their Euro clear.
What's the brand you're shooting right now?
Shopline. It's PPG's like.
Oh, it's PPG.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm a PPG person through and through. I learned on PPG. I tried to steer away from it for a little bit. I went to Matrix, and I liked it. Their colors are amazing, they're vibrant, but it just was not working with me. Like me and that brand just did not work together well. So then I just went back to Shopline, and I love it. I mean, it's what I learned on. It's what I've been using for almost 10 years now. So
okay,
I can't really complain.
I got a question. I know California sucks as far as its regulations and all that shit. So I'm sure Texas and I would imagine Pennsylvania. I definitely know, like, I have friends that take their cars and their stuff to Arizona because clear coat is urethane, but it's way better. And
there's
all the
even cleaners that 100%.
So like, how is that
buffing compounds? Okay.
How is that adjustment? Because in Texas, can you shoot a full on like urethane? Like, can you shoot? Yeah, you can shoot. So you can shoot the good clear, as we would call it.
This is the other part. I'm a urethane person. I do not spray water-based paint. I do not like water-based paint. So like, even I'll spray a lot of House of Color out here because it's one of the few urethanes you can get. Shopline still has almost their full line in urethane out here. It's not as, like, I don't know what you would call it. It's not like everywhere else.
Yeah.
Like, even especially like lacquer thinners, I noticed clean a lot better other places. Like, just stuff like
out
that.
Here.
But like, and like buffing compounds cut horribly out here. Like, I don't know what's in buffing compound. I don't know if 3M just changed their stuff. That's what I mean. Jared claims that they just changed, but I don't know. So there's just there is a bunch of stuff that's different that I didn't think that would be that different. And like,
well, out here, you correct me. Well, I don't want to put you in any weird compromising position, but it's water-based clear out here, isn't it?
No,
it's not.
So you.
I thought there was a law that was when I was fucking with this. I thought there was a law. There's something that had changed where it had to be a water-based clear that had to be shot.
Well, they're still selling urethane.
Oh, well, then if they're selling it, then
right?
If they're selling it, then I'm speaking way wrong.
I was just like, whatever, screw it. So, but I didn't think that I thought I was gonna have to switch fully. Which I do a lot of factory matches too, and some factory Harley colors I can only get in water-based paint, and then I have to, which I will then obviously, but I would rather not. I would avoid water-based paint like the plague. I hate it. I just like I loathe it.
So if you guys ever wonder, if you ever look at the roof of a car and it's flaking, and the roof of a car or the hood of a car and it's flaking, that is water-based clear there. That shit doesn't last for shit.
It doesn't. I just don't like it at all. And then what I really, really don't like about it, the main reason why it doesn't work well for me, is how long it takes to dry. A urethane base coat will be dry to the touch in 5 minutes, able to tape on in 30 to 40.
Yeah.
Water-based paint, I can't even put the second coat on for another 40 freaking minutes. And that's even with holding a dryer on it. And I'm like, this is not efficient for me, like, at all. So yeah, I'm like, and then I get impatient, and then I'm layering it too much, then it never dries. I'm like, you know what? Screw all of this. Like, I'm done. So I just stick with my urethane and my House of Colors and all of that. And
good choices. What is your, like, if you have a style that you had to pick, like, your kind of your favorite?
Oh, golly.
Like, if you had I don't know, old school stuff, layering, patterns, flames, if there's like,
I like combining all of it, but in a simple way. Like, you can combine all that and have crazy jobs, but I like.
Let me ask it this way.
Okay.
What would you kind of call your style?
God.
What would you dub your? Because you said it and you tipped at it a little bit earlier. Is that, and you even have pushed people over to other people. You're 100%. Like, I'm not the painter for you. So and that's right. There's certain painters that have. Jared from Valley Customs has a style. You have a style. Jason, Texas. Has a style. Everybody has a style.
This is wild to me because, like, I don't. People say that I have a style, but I don't see it. So like, I don't know how I would even explain it, especially because it changes so much. Like, because there was a time that I did nothing but freehand work. And then there was a time I did nothing but pinstriping. And now, like, I'm doing nothing but, like, kind of like a simpler panel job. So like, I'm kind of like, I mean, if anything, I'm pretty freaking versatile. Like, that's about it. But I would say it's definitely different. It's more on like the simple and cleaner side. I would rather go for something simple and clean than something that's completely wild. Like,
okay,
I've done a few absolutely over the top jobs and they've just burned me out. Like, because then you're 3 weeks in on the same freaking paint job, just doing a different one. And I'm like, okay, this is dumb. I can still, like, that sports jar I just did is 2 airbrushed lines, some pinstripes, and some gold leaf, and it looks complex as ever. So like,
sometimes less is more.
Just like effects like that, and like just different things like that. I really dig, and like subtle stuff I like adding. So like that white Sportster, it has gold leaf on it, but the white has a gold pearl on it, so it kind of brings it out with each other. Then there's the tan pinstriping that kind of goes in correlation with the gold, and then the black that contrasts it all. So,
and these are all the things like you're saying, like, how's it going to come out? I don't know. Let me put the white on it first.
Yep. Let me see how that goes.
And then I see this line.
So 100%. When I did that, I painted it, and then so I'll paint something, I'll clear it, I'll sand the clear down, I'll pinstripe it, and then I'll re-clear it. So when I'll paint it, and I'm like, okay, cool. And then so that's that white Sportster, for example, I painted everything, and then the next day when I sanded it and everything, I sat it down and I got all the pinstripe colors that I was thinking of out, and I opened them all up, and I literally looked at and saw which ones went with it best. And I'm like, and I was only going to do one pinstripe color because it is such a simple job. I'm like, I'm only going to do one. And then I was in between tan and black, and I was like, well, shit, this would look really cool with both. So then that's what I'm saying. I don't even know until I get it all together. And then even so, some of these colors spray out completely different than I imagined them to be. Like, I made that custom, like that gold pearl. So I'm like, I don't know what this is going to look like. Like, I like it in the little, and it was a dry pearl. So I was like, the powder looks kind of cool. It says it's gold. So I was like, I'm going to go with it.
Try this.
And then I put it in, and I was like, well, it looks pretty good. I was like, so I'll take it. And then like I sprayed it, and I was like, man, this isn't doing what I thought. And then like I took it out in the sun, and I was like, oh shit. I was like, okay, this is good.
Take it out in the sun.
Like,
take it out in the sun.
I was like, this is good. So
well, I asked that so that people, I guess, because a lot of people will listen to it, and if they're looking, a lot of people are always looking for a painter, and you know, so if they know, maybe is Shayna the painter for me, or can she bring
the best advice I could do for that is to just go to my Instagram page and see what I've already done, and if like you'll see a shitload of different stuff. So if there is something that you like that's kind of different, like I did a pink and blue helmet that's sort of like a Tron style. That's not usually a style that I did for a little bit, but not like I don't do some stuff that extremely Tron-ish.
Gotcha.
So like there's a helmet on there that looks like that. Like you can message me that. You can message me the white Sportster and be like, I want a combination of these two. And I'm like, good challenge. Let's do it. Like, so just I don't know. I also I like really making it personal to the person. Like I like getting to know my client before actually doing something for them, because then I can kind of incorporate stuff that they would have never even thought of. Like even just knowing like different colors or different things, or even like life events that they had and stuff. Like that's especially with helmets that I started with sprint car helmets, like custom painting and stuff.
You paint a lot of helmets?
Not so much anymore.
Okay.
I do so here and now, but it's kind of hard for me too with like just I love painting bikes. And because of that, I do book so many bikes that it's hard for me to bring myself away from. I think I'm like, okay, it'll be a nice little break. Like I'll be able to paint this sitting down. Then like I get them in, and I'm like, man, I don't want to stop painting this bike for this right now. So I've kind of steered away from them a little bit. But every once in a while, I'll still take one on.
And bikes are your main thing. I know.
100%.
I know. I've seen you painting some panels on some roofs and
other things like that Impala was my favorite. And let me tell you, man. Okay, so I didn't have the like resources for that type of work until I came out to California. And that was the other thing. This is the mecca of custom paint out here. Yeah. And like I didn't realize you hear that, but like I didn't realize how immersed the culture was out here. So like when I did come out here, I was like, damn, this is dope. And that was the first time that I really saw like a true lowrider and like a true like everything. I was like, this is crazy, y'all. Like I was like, I love this. And then that job came through the Impala, and I did it, and I was like, dude, this is insane to like, I don't know, the whole job from start to finish. It has everything. First of all, it has airbrushing, it has graphics, it has silver leaf, it has pinstriping, it has absolutely everything. And it's on the 64 Impala. Like I'm like, damn, like that was one of the most fulfilling jobs for me in the world, because I was just like, this is insane. So since that job, I was like, I love lowriders. I love painting them. I told her the other day, I said, I want to do a full one. I want to do a full freaking car, like not just a roof. I want to do all of it. Like I'm so excited about them.
I think my next build, my next Harley is going to be, I've had one. I came from them. I'm going to build the V-Glow. And I'm feeling like I'm going to come to you and let
I'm ready.
I know.
Ready.
I know. I'm going to let you do. It's this weekend, actually, we're doing a Pismo run. Rain or shine, okay. I guess it's supposed to rain, but like 300-400 bikes, and like pretty much almost all of them are Viklas. All spokes, ape hangers,
there
chrome.
You go.
Clean fishtail stretched.
That was one cool thing about Texas is that scene is huge in Texas out there. And they have just like, and the engraving and all of it. It's amazing to me. That's one thing that I wish I would pick up is engraving. But maybe one day I will, but we'll get there. So
I'm actually trying to get with RWD.
Yeah. Yep. I know exactly what you're talking about. He's amazing.
This Instagram thing kind of like paused things because I'm trying to see if I can sort it out. But him and I have been going back and forth for a couple of months trying to figure out a date and stuff to be able to chop it up with him, because I've like followed his work.
I want to listen to that one.
Yeah, especially
because he's not very like. I mean, he posts a lot of work and stuff, but like I couldn't tell you what he looks like or anything.
Me neither.
I want to hear what he has to say.
I would love. I just like it, guys like that, and yourself too, because this is what I like doing about this. Is one, I'm pretty confident you can hear it. I have a background in it. I know what I'm talking about.
100%.
But I like hearing, and I like hearing people's side of it and stuff. But I like listening and talking and picking guys' brains, like yourself and him, because that's a different type of. That's
100%,
a dope
and
skill.
It's also a way that like people can, because like you only see so much on Instagram, and I can't sit here and talk this long on a story about my life like every day. So
exactly.
Like it's just cool that people can like kind of get to know. I mean, there's certain like, because there's been idols of mine on podcasts, so it's cool that I can go on a podcast and listen to that person, and like I feel like I know them better now because like I did have a look into their personal life of what they chose to share on that. So that's really cool to me, and like that has been an inspiration to me to some people. There's some people that I've never met that have been an inspiration to me just because I've heard something that they said on a podcast that has stuck with me. So I don't know. I think it's really cool.
I'm trying to get with.
I'm appreciative of you that you would give us this platform to be able to do this. So thank you.
I'm surprised the amount of people that actually will come and like think that I'm will come and join me. You drove all. I'm like, wow, you drove all the way from. But I love. I love doing podcasts. I love doing them,
especially because there's a lot of misconceptions that I think happen on social media and just through situations in general, especially over the last year of my life. Like I know that there has been a lot of controversy about me, so it's definitely a way
can
for
I
me.
ask, I honestly
sure,
like, because seriously, legit, I'm on Instagram and I use it as my tool, and I don't really like, there's so many times that people tell me, oh, what, I'm like, huh? I don't even pay attention to that. Like,
so I don't.
We all have haters.
100%. There's just situations that I have tried everything that I have done, like could have done.
Hang on, I need to grab another beer. Do you need anything else? Hang on a second. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Oh, it's only 8:30.
Yeah.
I thought it was way later. Are you okay? Okay. Okay.
Yeah, this is definitely some.
So as I was saying,
no, you're totally fine.
we have haters. What
100%.
What controversy?
So so I take a long time sometimes. I will be the first to tell you that I am a slow painter. Like I take my time. Some days I don't feel it. Like, and if I am not feeling it, I can't do it. That's also why I don't work for somebody.
Well, you don't want it to come out like shit.
100%. So if I'm not feeling it, I'm going to go take that day off. And when you work for somebody, you can't always do that. Yeah. So I don't like, there are some times, and especially with going through depression, and there are times in my life that I didn't always deal with it well. So like there are times that I wouldn't work for weeks on end, or I wouldn't like just do some stuff. And like I was you can't always be open about stuff like that. And there were a few times that and it was always thrown back into my face, very publicly as well. And I was never very open about my depression.
Okay, and when I say open with the things that you were dealing with.
Yeah, 100%. Because it got fucking dark, dude. There were certain times in my life that I got to some very dark places that like, even now, as secure as I am with them, it's hard for me to admit to people, because there's not a lot of people there. Some people just don't understand it. So especially when they see like my life, they're like, man, how could you feel that way? And I'm like, well, like that's the whole idea of depression, y'all. Like I can't control it. So there's been certain situations that I have done everything that I could, and people just still aren't happy. I have learned, if it's one thing that I have learned, in this whole journey of this is that some people are just out to be miserable, and they're out to just make a big deal about things and make scenes about things. And like, there has been times that I have just certain situations that have happened that people have been saying stuff about me that I've worked my ass off. I've done everything that they asked me to. They told me that it was great when they picked it up, and then 3 weeks later they wanted a refund. I went as far to offering them a refund. They wouldn't take it, and then a hate page is made about me on Instagram, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, so there are certain situations that I've done everything that I could, and I don't play into posting about stuff. So like, when people post about me, you will not catch me posting back. You will not catch me setting the record straight. I could give two fucks what you believe. Like, if at this point as an adult, if you see somebody posting about somebody on Instagram and you can't take a step back and been like, there's some shit going on here that I probably don't know the whole story, then you're not somebody that I want to do work for in the first place.
Fair enough.
And this whole that was another situation I was going through in March, was like just the most dramatic social media situation I've ever been through. So I was like, you know what? I was like, and like I said, I don't play into it, so I won't post about it. So I don't care if that makes me look guilty. I don't care I don't care what it makes me look like. I do not have time to play into that. I do not have time to reiterate the things that I've done. I know what I've done. I know what I didn't do. I know what I could have done better, especially there was a lot that I've learned from those situations, but and
it's your situation to handle how you
100%
how you want to handle. And I've been on the flip side of it. I've been public and open and vocal about saying something about somebody on social media and shit like that. That's my personality. That's my type. But see,
that's the other thing. Like, I'm very, like, I post that I smoke weed on my Instagram and stuff, and people are like, that's so, like, why would you do that? And I'm like, because it's me. Like, you're getting a job from me. And let me tell you, there are some days that a better paying job will come out of it if I'm smoking weed. So I'm like, there was a long time that I tried not to be that way. And I think, and it was a big reason why I did what I did, because I got to the point that I was like, nobody that pays me to be there from 9 to 5 is going to tell me what I can or cannot do outside of those hours. Like, I was not okay with that. I was like, you can't tell me what I can do on Saturdays and Sundays, man. So then and I think like people get so just into their heads about it being such like a corporate thing. And some people do have to like pay attention to that. And I get it.
Yeah.
But like, when it comes to somebody like me, like if you and I'll cuss on my Instagram, and somebody came to me one time and they're like, well, I don't want to get paint work done by you because you cuss so much. And I'm like, well, if you don't want to get paint work done by me because I say fuck, then like, I don't want to do paint work for you anyway. Yeah, like,
we're not the customers.
And you should find another artist. Like, that's one of those moments. And I'm like, I think that there's a better artist out there for you. But I just, I want to be unapologetically myself, because that's when I attract the best things for me, and that's when I attract the happiest things for me. So that's just always been my goal of this whole thing.
Well, they're your situations to handle how you want to handle, and if your response is to not respond, well, that's okay too.
I have learned in that situation that I did everything that I could, and it wasn't good enough. So anything that I will do isn't going to fix it. So have at it.
At some point,
fight it out, whatever you want.
Whatever it is, and however it went, at some point you do also have to just throw in the towel and let it be, right?
100%.
Just let it go.
There's plenty of what was cool about it is I've done enough work at this point that there was enough of my actual clients I got on there were like, yo, no, dude, like, I've gotten work done by her. Like, it may take a couple months, but like, it's fucking good work. Like,
let's be real. Any publicity is good publicity.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Publicity. It don't matter if it's good, bad. And I'm going to give you the most extreme example. Kim Kardashian and that sex tape and shit, man. Come on, I mean, that shit. Yeah. Now you step back a year later or something, you go, man, mom is a motherfucking mastermind of that shit. You know, like,
oh yeah,
you know, no publicity is bad publicity.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it will hurt your ego, or it'll have certain people say or think things about you. But I'm going through a similar scenario with family, and where there's a little conflict, you know. But I'm like what you're saying on my end of it, my peace, my I'm good. I know my heart. I know my mind. I know what I did.
100.
I know my intention. I would love to have that conversation with you, but I can walk away like this and go, I'm good.
Yeah, that is a point of security that I don't think that people realize how important it is. Like I know that no matter what, like I'm sure there are people that are going to tell you that I fucked them over. I did this. I did whatever. But
people
I can
say the same about me.
Right. And I can honestly say, I said this on my last podcast. I can honestly sit here and say here that I did the best I could with every situation that I was given. I have learned stuff from those situations that I could go back and handle them better through and through, no doubt.
Yeah.
But at that time, with what I knew and the knowledge that I had and the resources that I was given, that is the best that I could have handled that situation. And in every situation, my intentions were good. I have never had malicious intent for anybody. I have never gone down that route. I was like, so you know what? As long as I have that, I could give two shits what you say. I could give two shits what you post. Like, if that, like,
and let them think and make what they're
100%.
Let them live with, and that's like what, like on my end of it, I'm good with me, and I'm gonna let that person live and decide with whatever they 100%. Have told themselves about the scenario.
Yep.
I don't need the approval. I don't need I would love to have the conversation.
Yeah.
But I don't need hey, we're square. You make sure that I'm good.
Yeah.
I know what I did. I'm clear-headed with
100%.
You know?
I totally agree with that.
But we're always going to have haters.
Oh, yeah.
We're always going to have haters.
So that's one thing.
Haters thrive us. Oh, I don't know about you, but haters thrive me a little bit. They kind of light the fire underneath my ass.
I don't know. They don't for me. They unmotivate me, man.
I
bark back. I'm not.
I do. I bark
back. That's why
I really try not to. Like, so social media, I won't post anything. But if a customer gets an attitude with me, I've gotten myself in trouble.
I'll do it on social media, and that's what's got me in trouble too. I'll do it there too, and I
tell people all the time, I'm like, if you have an issue with anything, just wait until I'm done. Like, then we can talk it out. I will apologize. I'll figure it out. I will like compensate you for whatever you feel you need, but until I'm done, just don't piss me off.
I get it. And I just think there is a way to there's a place and a time and a way to have 100%. A conversation about everything.
100%.
There are certain things that you must have a conversation about privately. There are certain things that you can say publicly in the correct setting, and that's where it should be
100%
presented. Like, but there's some stuff,
and that's the other situation
behind closed doors.
Yeah, there, like in that situation where I was being posted about and everything else, I had screenshots that would have discredited everything that was said, like literally everything. With 3 screenshots, I could have shut that whole situation down.
So was this over? Was over a paint job that took too long or didn't come out? What, they weren't happy with the finished product? It was somebody who took advantage of my Instagram getting deleted because the messages got deleted. They claimed it was something that was never there. So I said, sweet. If it's something that they said it was nothing of what I wanted. And they said, I have the original messages. I said, if you have the original messages, screenshot it and send it to me. I'll fix whatever it is. Like, that's on me. Like I told you, my Instagram got deleted. I didn't have anything, like all this other stuff. Yep.
Mind you, I have sent pictures to these people. They have seen it in pictures. They've seen the whole progress. They've seen it primer. They've seen it in its first round of clear. They've seen it in the second, literally everything. And they claim it was nothing of what they wanted. So, I thought we settled with, they did not pay full price on it at all. And then, it was not that.
Let somebody.
And the public situation was portrayed completely differently. So
let it be, no, this is one person out of how many paint jobs you've done?
A lot. I will say this is the first podcast that I ever even gave details on about that. So this is a very exclusive content right now.
But that's one person.
Oh, 100%.
How much work you've done.
And that's the other part. Like I had clients that like came and was like, I have,
guys. Come on. Yeah. You can't take one disgruntled.
So it got to the point it turned into a legal situation. And then that's what I was dealing with when Laurel came. And I was like, Laurel, that was the first day that like lawyers were hired. And I was like, Laurel,
over paint job?
Yeah. I was like, man,
this is insane.
Yeah. So it got to a defamation suit. And it got to the point that they just wanted me to spend money on anything. So I just bowed out. I was like, you know what? Say what you will.
You have
I'm done.
That's the court system.
Yeah.
If you just keep going through it, you'll
and I'm like,
money.
Yeah. And I'm like, at this point,
just drain your ass.
Yeah.
Yep. You have to sometimes just pull out and go.
Yeah.
Give it to me.
Yeah, that's what I was just like, you know what?
Give it to me.
Have at it, homegirl. Like, it's a great time.
Fucking boom. So. Yeah, I know. I had a brother of ours that was going through some shit in the court. And it was on and on and on. And we're like, dude, I can't keep affording to like fuck with this. They have unlimited is sometimes you just got to pull out and say fuck.
And it was like looking back, I'm like, it really wasn't at this point. Like, whatever. Have a great time. Probably won't be the last time. Let
it be what it is. Continue to put out your product, and people will see it.
See, that's what
they'll want to come and get the work from you.
Panicking, like I was freaking out about that situation, and that was one of my good friends in Texas, Ashley, said that to me, and she's like, Shayna, she said, you're gonna keep putting out the work that you do and the work that we all know that you do, and people are gonna see it, and then anybody who does see whatever and they go to your page, they're obviously gonna know that something was different there. So, and that's kind of why I let it go, and then yeah, I mean, I honestly feel bad I even brought it up again, but
no, don't even, what it is. I can relate to you a lot right now, because all this stuff with my Instagram and all this crap, it feels like it's somebody that's got a little bit of
so that all happened at the same time. Now my Instagram got deleted before that.
Okay.
And then that whole situation happened, and then I was also going through like a major breakup that he had a bunch of paint work that he still owes me money for. And Leather Pros. He knows he'll probably not listen to this, but anybody who does listen to this and
can I get him to listen? I could probably get him.
I will. I'm gonna tell him because he's still hitting me up right now.
Oh.
So that's right. So anyway,
I ain't say shit.
So anyway,
Shayna just spitting, boy.
I did. I just got a little sassy there. I got a little fiery. There was one other time on my story I got like that. But shit, I want those fucking Leather Pros, dude. My bike would look so good with them.
You owe to sell Leather Pros.
Yeah. So at least
just drop them in the PO box them or something like that. Just drop them in the. If he's listening, drop them in the mail. Send them their way. Send them. All right.
We send them invoices.
Oh, geez, you've got every way to get them.
Blatantly told him to his face about it as well.
Well,
it's a great time.
I guess you're not getting those. Back then.
No, not at all.
You are getting those.
Yeah.
So you're still on your Sportster.
Yeah.
Speaking of
my little baby.
What year is yours?
2012.
2012.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's fuel injected.
Yeah. And
it
883 is it the big bore?
It's 1200.
1200.
Yep.
Okay.
So that thing I love through and through. And I have gone back and forth so many times.
How many times have you painted it?
Once. So I know.
That's surprising.
So I got it. It was this really shitty paint job that I got it. Like somebody who did not know what they were doing painted it, which is all fine. I did. And it was all messed up. Like it was all this like New York, East Coast, I want to be different vibe that didn't really work that well. So I was like, great. So then I redid the whole thing, and like I got like kind of new tints for it. I got a full length rear fender and a different front fender and stuff. And then I stripped it down and I painted it. And I want to paint it again. I am itching to pull that thing apart, but I can't stop riding it long enough to do so. So it's just stayed what it is. But
is it your only mode of transportation? Or
no, I have a truck.
Okay.
But
that's right. The Tacoma.
Yeah. Yep. I have a Tacoma. But I've gone back and forth so many times about upgrading to a bigger bike because I'm 100% ready for it. But I love that thing so much.
Have you ridden hers?
Not yet.
No.
No,
because that would be. I mean, that's obviously would be
a good friend of mine, Thomas at 101 Speed Co. He's a great mechanic over in Chatsworth. He is selling a Dyna, and he told me he's like, you can ride it, and I said no, and he said why, and I said because as soon as I ride that, I'm gonna buy it. Like there's no doubt, and like I'm not ready for that yet. I don't think. I mean, like I am, but at the same time, like this is my first Harley, so like this is my third bike, but my first Harley, so. I have a very sentimental attachment to it. Plus, I'm a very tiny person, obviously. I'm 95 pounds on a good day. So, like, I love how thin the Sportster is. So, like, and it's fast enough. It keeps up with anybody.
She's
so I'm like...
She doesn't need a bigger bike.
She doesn't need more power. Well, the 1200. Listen, the 1200s are nothing to fuck with. And
that thing.
And you weighing what you weigh on that thing, it's like there's nothing on it.
And the thing is, it's like I didn't even intend to start being fast. Like it's just Texas has a minimum speed limit of like 75 everywhere you go. So if you don't want to get ran over, you kind of have to be.
I noticed that when I was out there. It took me some like through the town, and it wasn't a freeway, but it was a long stretch, and everyone was driving the speed limit. I was like, what the fuck? And it took us forever to get. Anyways, we got back, and I told my stepbrother who we were visiting, I said, dude, everyone drives so slow around here. He's all, well, where'd you go? And I told him, he's like, yeah, no, everyone will drive the speed limit there. He's like, I'm all, what about the freeway? He's all, the freeway, people are going to be passing you. Like,
100%.
They were driving like, my wife is pretty good lead foot, and they went to the store and then came back.
Yeah.
And my oldest was with her, and she goes, yeah, they were passing her, and she steps on it pretty good. Their move out there, boy.
I didn't even realize it until I actually started. When I went up to Sturgis last year, was when I first like started riding with like a big group of dudes actually, and I was nervous, man. I'm like, they're on like these FXRs and Dynas and everything, and I'm like, I'm on this little Sportster, and I was like, oh man, I don't know. And then they actually yelled at me that I was going too fast, and they were like, you're gonna get us pulled over, and I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I was like, I thought we were riding here, guys, but it's okay. Oh man, but no. Then after that, yeah, I don't even like. I have fun with it though. Like I like kind of pushing myself, and especially in like canyon roads and twisties and stuff like that. Because like, I mean, Pennsylvania, you have some of that. Texas, you absolutely do not. Like it's so straight and long, and just I hate it. But
I'm visiting. That's how we're using our vacation the next like 3 or 4 years. We're gonna visit different parts of the United States because I think we want to exit California for a little bit.
Yeah,
and so we're visiting other places where we may consider.
Texas is very similar to a lot of parts of California.
Well, what I noticed is the flat.
Yes,
I can't like. Okay, not that I can't, but I'm born and raised here.
That's what. And even on the way here, we took Malibu Canyon Road.
Okay,
it's gorgeous.
You took PCH probably.
Yeah.
I got a mountain 4 miles up
Your
the road
view
from
out
here.
Is amazing.
I have this. Like those are the mountains I go and ride.
Yeah,
they're
that's
just
what I'm
up
saying.
It's
when I came out here, I felt, and even like there's mountains on the East Coast, and it's not like out here. And like I told my mom that because like. I was like, Mom, I'm moving to the beach. And she's like, on the East Coast, right? I said, absolutely not. I'm going to the West Coast. And she's like, well, why? And I'm like, you have to come out. Like, she's never been out here. So I'm like, you have to come out here and you have to understand. Like, you will, once you see it, you'll get it. There's nothing like it. And even Laurel said on the way here, like, we turned off PCH and we're instantly in that canyon. Yep. And she goes, literally, we're right off like the beach. And now we're instantly in these like cliff canyons. She's like, this is crazy. There's no place that beats it. I get aggressive about this, about California and how amazing it is to live here because like I literally people are always like no it sucks and I'm like no, first of all you're looking at the wrong things, like you're getting too caught up in all the negative shit, like you have no like
because you can appreciate it from an outsider.
100%.
It's like a somebody from South America that comes here or China that comes here, they're like, America's the greatest country in the world. You don't understand. Yeah, you don't understand it. And so you're coming from an outside source.
That's true, I guess.
You've lived here all of your life. I've lived here all of my life.
You love it though, still. Like
I love it here. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely do love it here. And I don't question, but I go, well, why do I want to go somewhere else? One, just because I want to experience something else.
I get it. That is one thing that living different places of the country, I have grown into a different person so drastically each time that like if I didn't move away, it wouldn't be like this. Especially Texas, I was there by myself. I did not have friends. I did not have family. I did not have anybody. I had the people at my shop because I rented out of a restoration shop down there. And I went to work. I worked 12, 14-hour days and I came home. And that was it. That was my life in Texas. And then I would go travel to California and go visit California. And then all my friends would be out here. And I remember I was so mad one time because I had this TV in my back seat and I couldn't lift it. And I was like, I have no friends to help me. I said, but in California, I have 15 fucking people that I could call and they would come help me right now. I'm like, this is bullshit. So then that's when I moved. I was like, I'm over it. So
yeah, being born and raised out here, I definitely I guess I do. I guess I can say confidently, I take it for granted, maybe more. I think fair to say.
I can see it. Sometimes even only living here for 6 months, I take it for granted. I'm like, man, like I get caught up in bad stuff. And I'm like, because there was a time in my life that I said, man, if I lived in California, nothing would matter. I don't care what problem I had, nothing. Like as long as I lived in California, I'd be good. Well, and so like I try to think of that.
Is the hustle and bustle different here? Because
I was so nervous.
Like, well, I got to grind here. I'm telling you, I got to I know
I have to have more self-discipline here.
I know you walk in here and you're like, oh, this is so nice, but fuck.
You have to work for it 100%. And that's one thing about it.
Like you have to, I don't know about you, but I work, I got like 3 jobs.
Yeah.
I got like 3 jobs that I do to
This is the first
do
time in my
okay.
life that I'm working one job.
Yeah. You have to like out here, you know.
But
or
not
you
only that,
do
but
really,
she also
really
like, so she'll work her work days, then her days off are going and giving her friends haircuts. So like,
yeah, so
that's not a day off.
Right,
like,
right. And that's what I'm saying. Like I still have a job, but then like I get off and I go umpire.
Yeah,
I go
100%.
umpire softball and I go make some cash and shit like that.
Yeah.
That pays for my daughter's private school.
Yep.
Like I have to do all that stuff. Otherwise, I can't do it out
like,
here.
It took me 4 years to gain the clientele that I have, so that I don't have to have multiple jobs.
100%.
I was working a restaurant, 2 bars, and a salon. And now, like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Like,
I know.
not. So I've worked really hard to get to the point where I don't have
to
do that.
There you go.
But it has taken a whole hell of a lot of work.
Oh yeah.
For
sure. Well, people don't see that. They do the whole thing like must be nice, and it's fucking not. And I cried a lot over this. Like I have cried myself to sleep for months at a time over you people. So shut up. It is nice.
Yeah.
Like, but I just
you're building it yourself when it's your
100%.
You as a hairstylist and stuff, as you've built your clientele, you've built your reputation and everything.
But that is,
I feel like the hustle is harder, but it's also more rewarding.
So
like you have to work harder, but you get more out of it.
For sure.
So in Texas, it was easy for me to work all the time because I didn't have anything else to do. Here, I have to have more self-discipline because I want to go to the beach all the time. I want to ride all the time. I want to go do all this stuff all the time. I want to see California all the time.
Yeah.
But I love what I do enough that like I do want to do it all the time. So that helps. But as far as like the hustle being harder, honestly,
it seems like you already had work out here.
So one, I had work out here already, and two, I don't want to say that I've had an easier time out here because I was nervous. I'm like, you're about to move to the Mecca of custom paint, but you're about to move to the Mecca of custom paint. So that means these are the big dogs that I'm playing with now. Like these are the OGs.
Swim, right?
Like,
swim.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So then like I came out here and I was like, man, here we go. And then like I realized that there is very, 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 very few painters who aren't welcoming of other painters. Like, and people think that we're all
aren't welcome.
Yeah, and people think we're all in like this crazy competition, like we hate each other and all. Like no, like Jared, he was like, "Yo, don't you have a place to spray? Like you can spray out of my shop. Like that's cool, no worry." Like there are there's many
enough work. There's enough stuff to go around.
100. That's the other thing. There is so much work out, and that's like that people are like, "Oh, well, you're working with all the big dogs," but at the same time, okay, so there's 100 of us out here. Say, okay, for funsies. Laurel, we'll say 300 of us. We'll say 300 amazing custom painters out here.
Yep.
There are millions of people, and you think that there's not enough work for all of us. Like
it'll not get passed down, but there's enough
100%
to go around.
That, and then not only that, that's the whole point of all of us having our own styles. We're all gonna apply to a different group of people.
Jared can't take on every paint job that he gets. That
Exactly.
So he's like, hey, I can't take it. But I got my homegirl Shayna that can help.
There's plenty of times that we've played each other off like that. That we're like, yo, I can't do this, but like this person can, or like I can't do this, but this person can, or I'm not the best for this, but this person is. So like that really helped me, and like it just, I get way more bikes out here. Like I've just thrived out here. I feel like I have found where I, so to speak, have truly been like meant to be for a long time. Whether that's meant like, I can't tell you if I'm meant to stay here. I mean, I can't forever. I would like to say that now. Right now I'm feeling, yes, I will never leave California, but shit changes all the time. But at the same time, right now, I know that this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. Like everything.
Yeah.
Laura won't let me.
She picked you up from the airport.
She adopted me.
No, this is a great place for you to be. This is
100%.
where this is. If you're going to be into motorcycles and custom paint and any of that stuff, not just for motorcycles, for lowriders and for
everything.
I mean, shit. Even have you seen
beach cruisers? I have a beach cruiser. I was about to say,
have you seen beach cruisers or the lowrider bicycles?
That's what we're doing. Okay, right
little
now.
Fucking stained, twisted steering wheel on the there's paint work to be. I will have to say
that so a big reason why I am so successful out here is because of the people. I fit in with the people better out here than I do anywhere else in the country, better than my own freaking hometown. And because of that, they have.
Well, I think the style with the tattoo, you fit 100%, more the vibe.
100%.
You're an outcast, probably.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I was bullied so bad growing up; it was ridiculous. So, definitely, just like the network of people I have here are amazing. And here is where I'm going going to shout out Danny G, which he bitches at me because he says that I don't shout him out on any podcasts. But
make sure that Danny G listen up.
Yeah, he has kind of projected my involvement in the lowrider community, especially in Oceanside. I have gotten so much interest and so many just connections from him. Like, he is dope, and he's the biggest pain in my ass, I will say, because I'm being too nice right now, and he's gonna be like, this is weird, and I'm like, no, he's one of the biggest pains of my ass, let me tell you. But I am super thankful for him, and like, he's a dope person to have around. So there's his shout out, so he can stop bitching at me now. Danny, thank you. Not that. So that's the best part. He's like, you didn't even shout me out. I said, did you even listen? And he said, haha. I said, exactly. So now I'm like, I'm glad that it's like so far in, because I'm like, now you got to listen to like an hour and 45 minutes in to see. Did I don't know. I guess you'll have to find out.
Tell him, listen to the whole thing.
Yeah, literally the entire thing. I told Laurel, I was like, I'm gonna do it in the first 15 minutes, and then he definitely doesn't. I'm like,
no, let him off the hook too easy.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm glad that it worked out this way. But yep. So that shout out to him. He's dope. A lot of people. He's big in the bike community and stuff. Like, he's for sweet. Sure. So
I ran him and Jeff Holt are.
Oh, okay.
And I was talking to Jeff. I'm gonna try. I haven't reached back out to him. But I was going to try and link up with him. I was talking to him at Laguna Seca.
Okay. Yeah.
And we were talking about maybe doing a podcast, but I think he's still on his tour.
Oh yeah. They do that whole like Beachman Visionaire tour.
Exactly. So but I told him I could do it, for him, he's on the go. He's on the move.
Yeah.
That one definitely maybe best just to get him however I can. Yeah, exactly.
Totally understandable.
But, yeah, I'm trying to get him to jump.
Yeah,
maybe you can talk to Danny G too. Maybe.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll see what's up.
Something. Yeah.
He's done a few podcasts, so I'll have to ask him what he's doing.
Yeah.
For sure.
So, what is the next move then out here? You're gonna just keep staying in the custom paint?
Oh, for sure. My next venture, I am solely focused and full-heartedly into opening my own shop. So I am looking for a location right now. I've applied to a few places. There's a spot that I have found that is absolutely perfect. Like, I fell in love with it, and like,
can you say what city? What
San
area?
Marcos, down by Oceanside and Escondido. And some of our friends already rent in the same building. So like, I am so obsessed with it, and like, just how it's set up right now, I would not have to change pretty much anything. And
does it already have a booth and everything already?
It does not have a booth yet, but it's set up to be able to put a booth in. So that was a big reason, because that's like a big reason why I've been running into so many problems. Is like, I qualify for all these places and I'm able to get them, but they don't want me to do what I'm doing. And I don't want to necessarily lie. I want this to be legit. Like, I don't want to have to worry about if somebody's coming by and seeing what I'm doing. Like, this is what happens. I want to have like bike nights there. I want to do stuff there. So like, this is all going to be legit. So
when you do that, I'm coming to set up a podcast.
No, for sure. That'd be so dope. We're going to do it like whenever it does happen. It could be
my new booth and shit.
It could be 3 weeks from now. It could be 3 years from now. Whenever it does happen, we're going to throw a huge grand opening party, because this is
I'll be there for it.
This is my like goal of goals. Like, after this, like, I'm just going to maintain what I got, because that's what I love. So once we do that, for sure, that is what I'm solely focused on right now, like, out of anything. So I really hope that kind of unravels hopefully soon, and then from there we're just gonna paint everything.
What are you waiting on to confirm or for this place that
we just put the application in?
Gotcha.
Yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is you just found the place. Now, is this fresh in the search, or you have seen a couple of places already?
I applied for, I think, 2 other places so far. I've looked at a bunch, but I've applied for 2 other places. And then this place specifically, I've been working with a realtor, and he said, he's like, with what you're doing, they're going to be cool with you putting in a booth. They're going to be cool with you painting. They're going to, like, the landlords are super chill like that. So that's why we're super into this one. We're in competition with one other person, so they better back off. but other than that, we're just trying to see if we got it. So hopefully we hear about that. I was hoping to hear back from it today, but hopefully we hear about that over the next few days.
Do you know that did they give you a timeline at all or anything?
I'm gonna call him tomorrow, and I'm gonna bother him.
I was gonna say it's good to follow up.
And I'm like trying to ensure this. I'm like, I will do things for this shop, homie. Like, well, they wanted to redo the carpet and everything. I'm like, no need for carpet. Don't put any carpet in it because there's like offices and stuff. I said, don't put carpet in it. Don't do anything. Like none of that. Just like let it all go. I like don't worry about any of that. I don't need any of that at all.
That's good. So that's a little motivation,
I'm like,
there.
I'm trying to save y'all money here. Yep. Like help me out. Yep. So
and did you tell him you'll do something nicer?
Right.
Tell him you'll do that shit. Tell him you'll do that shit. Yeah. Tell him I'm gonna put hardwood floor right there.
Right. Right. Yep. I'm gonna. Yep. I'll put all shit. I'll do that like poured concrete bullshit. I will make this nice.
You tell them that along with it.
Yep. For sure.
And they'll be like, oh, okay, she's the one to go. Right. You have to do that shit. When we bought,
I'm cool with it though. Like especially when it's somebody like. It's somewhere that I can see myself for a long period of time. Like, I don't care. Like, because she was like, well, it's like this long of a lease. I said, look, lady, I don't care if it's a 10-year lease. Like, I'm willing to stay here. Like, that's how like perfect this shop is for me. So I'm like, I'm hoping. I hope I didn't like jinx it talking about it, but send good vibes to me, people.
No,
I need it.
I'll send them your way. You got to speak it into fruition.
Yeah, for real, right? Laurel, we're getting this shop.
She said the same thing.
Bitching. Well, because I'm trying to get my hopes up. Because I've got my hopes up how many times now? Like,
and I'm like, we're manifesting.
Every single time I'm like, this shop is perfect. And then I'm like, no, this shop is actually perfect. So I'm like, Laurel, don't get too excited. And she's like, we're getting it. I'm like, stop being so sure. I'm like, literally like the opposite of it now. And she's like, no, you have to speak it into existence. You have to do all of this. So, all right. We're gonna
manifest it.
Here we are. We're manifesting.
It'll happen for you. And listen,
it'll happen whenever the time's right and all of that. So
we said it at the very beginning of this. Things happen for a reason, right? And even though it's the perfect one, right now it's the perfect one.
Right. I've said that 4 other fucking times.
Right.
So I'll find another perfect one. I'm sure that's no problem.
But it'll
make sense.
They have a way. Things have a way of working themselves out.
That's true.
Yeah. And then so with the shop. Would you just solo?
Yep, 100%.
Just
so Laurel is my shop manager. She does all the legal stuff and all the paperwork and all. She's taking over all of that stuff because
that's a whole another thing.
And that's the other thing is I could be doing so much more paint stuff if I didn't have to deal with all of that. So she she's my new shop manager, Laurel. But
shout out
again to Laurel, my savior. She has literally put my life on track. She's like, here you go. When she got to Texas, I didn't have anything packed. She packed all my shit. She sold all my furniture. Like she literally has taken care of me. So
that's what's up. And now she's gonna be shop manager.
Yeah, so now she's gonna just take care of me on a whole nother level.
I know what you mean by that though. When you gotta be the labor air quotes person, so to speak, because I did a podcast with Anthony Aponte, and he had a shop, and the shop was just down the street from him, and real nice shop that he had, and he ended up bringing it back to his house, and working out of his house, and his house set up pretty bitchin' setup itself, but I remember him telling me, he's like, I couldn't stand when people would come in and they just, because he's like, I need to get work done. Yeah. He's like, I know I need, but I already had work. 100%. I already had work lined up.
I say this all the time. So say about like, if you have 9 to 10 bikes on average, those 9 to 10 people want updates. If not week, like some people want daily, like, which is impossible, but they want it weekly. So you end up talking to that person for an hour, sometimes 2 hours over shit that they decided, or like what's going on with this, all this other stuff. Like it's never a simple, hey, this is where your bike's at right now, and then the conversation ends. So you got to think, if you equivalent to each one of those people being an hour, so there's 9 to 10 hours out of your week, and then you're not even counting potential clients of people that also talk to you for about an hour to 2 hours, and even longer for them because they're asking all the questions of how much, how long will it take, what do you think about this, what do you think about this, what do you think about this, and they might not even come through. Like only about 20% of those people actually come through, if that. So like on top of that, you're at like 20 hours of just talking to people alone. So I'm like, I could be painting another whole bike in that time. That's
what he's like, I can't, not that I can't stand it. He's like, it eats up my time.
And you don't realize how much time it does eat up until like it's doing. It's until like you look back and you're like, shit.
Well, if you're the one man person or the one 100%. Person, that's
and then like you're adding marketing on top of that. Like I gotta advertise on my own shit. I gotta do all this, and then just the paperwork in general, and like the tax side of things, and that side of the business, and then moving it across country 3 different times. So like it just, there's so much to it, and there's a lot of stuff that I don't understand. I'm not a good business owner. I'm a good the artistic side I'm great at, but like actually being like a business owner, not the best.
There's
so
two
like
sides to it.
100%. So that's why I am super stoked that like we're starting to get shit figured out. So
a good right hand person.
Yeah, 100%. Again, so thankful for fucking Laurel over here. Literally would not be here without her. Literally speaking.
Place to crash.
Yeah, for real.
Well, I wish you the best. I'm gonna speak it into existence for you as well and hope that it happens for you. What about like equipment wise? Are you Because I mean, what are you gonna need like straight out of the gate?
The first thing in firmware is an air compressor for sure. So
well, you need a giant one.
Yeah,
you need a good size one.
Yep, I would prefer at least like an 80-gallon one.
Yeah,
that's on a good day. So
and they're not cheap,
not at all. So that's gonna be our next venture for sure. But from there, we're gonna because I have a really good shop set up now. So we're just gonna take our time to set it up all legitimately and whatnot. Right. So and get everything built the way it should and exactly how we want it, and then we'll put customer shit in there and start putting it out. So
and the name would be 13th.
I guess 13th Street Customs.
Is there not?
It's not even on a 13th.
Is there not a name like specified 100% yet?
I guess not. 13th Street Customs has like always like I went by 13th Street airbrushing for so long, and then I never changed it because people knew it, and then I changed it because I had to. But 13th Street has never been on 13th Street ever. Like I've never lived on a like ever in my life. So I feel like people get confused sometimes when they like look it up and they're like, it's gonna be on this fucking road that's not even, it's like nowhere close to it. But at the same time, I feel like it's such a brand now, I'll probably keep it. So
where did it stem from, by the way? I don't even know if I asked. Where did
13th Street,
if you've never lived on the street?
Yeah, so 13th Street came from I started when I would sketch and when I would do any art, it would all be graffiti. And to this day, I'm obsessed with graffiti. I love it. It is so cool to me. There is a place in Dallas called the Fab Yards that it's a legal place that anybody can go and do graffiti. And there's like part of it that's all really professional stuff. Then there's part of it that's just all like tag work and shit. But like the really professional stuff is so amazing to me. And like it's limitless on what you can do with it. So I always consider that just like street art, and like I liked the number 13, so I was like, well, 13th Street sounds like kind of cool. Okay. So then that's like what I did, and I was like, man, maybe sometime I'll like find 13th Street in my life. Like then I just is what it is now, and like I don't know, it turns out pretty cool. Like it's kind of I like it. It's different. Like it is what it is.
13,
but
the number 13 itself carries like a. Significance is not the word, but it has an ambiance
kind of like a weight to it in a way, yeah.
You know, like Friday the 13th.
Yeah, like it has a vibe to it.
Yeah, exactly. And like I don't know, like in the Mexican communities, like 13th Street and shit like that, right? Like it's like right? You know, it's got like its own little kind of like
it's here now, so it's probably here to stay.
You know? But other than that, it was just that's where. Yeah. My friend is a graffiti artist.
Actually, I love. I've always wanted to actually. I've never actually done any graffiti. I've only sketched it, so I've never actually done any. Which also, I'm super stoked about this shop because it has some walls, and I'm like, damn well, I'm about to graffiti that shit. Yep. Dope. So, I'm really hoping for that too.
Yeah, my buddy, he had a little crew. Still a lot of youngsters that he had up on that thing, but. He got commissioned to like do a bunch of different work and stuff at the lab down here.
It's amazing what people like, because when I first like you hear when you're doing art as a career, they're like, oh, you're never gonna make any money. But I'm like, you don't understand everything that art goes into. Like art goes into designing this freaking label right here. A graphic artist designed this. Like, so it goes into everything. So it's amazing to me what like people don't realize is behind what art is behind.
It's an artistic form of freedom.
Yep.
You know, it's exactly what it is, you know. So, well, hey, Shayna, I know that you have a long and as do you. Thank you for bringing her down.
Yeah, I drug Laurel here, so thank you, Laurel, for coming along on this
surprise. Trip. I know we should. I know.
You want Taco Bell?
Yeah.
Let's go. We're gonna get Taco Bell.
Now nutrition. Taco Bell it is. So so Shayna, we've talked about it. Where's the best place that people can kind of reach out to you and get a hold of you?
The best place is Instagram, and I'm just 13th Street Customs, Shayna Guy. You can search either and I'll come up. Yeah, just shoot me a message on there, and if you need
there's not a website or anything.
I used to have a website, but not anymore. If you need, I usually just give my phone number out. Anybody can text me at any point in time, which is just 717-224-3331. Super simple. So texting is the best way. Like texting or messaging me on Instagram is the best way to get a hold of me. 100%. Fastest way to get a response also. So just either of those two ways.
And then the way to check out their work, go to the Instagram, see what
she'll
post. Like I like watching the reels and shit that you put together and stuff,
I do some dumb shit sometimes. So
dude, that's the whole I hate doing
I don't take it seriously. I used to take it really seriously. I used to be very professional, but I was like, you know what? I'm not a professional person. Like I'm over here, I'm dancing away, I'm doing whatever. I'm like, so
speaking of reels, let me ask, can I ask, and I don't know how much you can say about it. I didn't go and do what you said to do, but that fairing.
Yeah.
What's up with that thing? It looked pretty sleek. It looked a little like, what's up? Are you working with Saddleman, by the way?
Maybe.
I'm just reading between the lines here a little bit.
So Saddleman, Chris over there is a solid dude. He is awesome. Like so cool. We just became friends through the bike community in general. And one of his employees actually had a bike that he got the tank repainted on it, and it had some original pinstriping on it. And he said, "Can you match this pinstriping? I want it redone on the tank." And I looked on the fender and I recognized the signature. I said, "I can do one better." I said, "I know the original artist, and I'm actually at an event with him right now that I'll just take this tank with me. I'll get it done by the original artist, and it'll be the exact same." So it was actually by Jeff Styles. And so I took it back to Coast, and Jeff Styles pinstriped it and gave it back. And I was like, "How much do I owe you?" And he said, "Nothing." He said, "I did this job 20 years ago. It's cool that it's even still around." So then dope. He did that for him. And that's kind of where we really became close. And then, of course, I have my Saddleman seat on my bike that I love oh so dearly. I love that thing on my bike. And then we hang out at all the events a lot. So he's just a really good friend in general. And then that fairing, the cool part about that fairing is it's for his girlfriend Jasmine. She took my first pinstriping class that I ever taught in Sturgis last year. So I had no idea that that's who they were. And until the dude that I was dating at the time came up and was like, "Yo, that was the owner of Saddleman and his girlfriend that you just taught." I was like, no, it wasn't. I don't know who you're talking about. I was like, I would have recognized that. I had no idea what he looked like. So then afterwards, and she was really good. I wish she would have I wish she would practice all the time. She's so good at it. So that happened, and then he came to me. I don't know. We went to Saddleman, that time when I did the whole tank, and they had a prototype of it there, and I was like, "This is the coolest fucking thing! This is awesome!" And he's like, "Yeah, we're thinking about it or whatever." And then he came to me recently. He's like, "Yeah, I want to get this one for Jasmine's bike to match it or whatever." And she already has it painted by somebody else. So I just matched the leaf and the pinstripe work on it. And so it's one of the first ones that they came out with. They are coming out with more. They are producing them. They're coming out with a shit ton of new parts and body parts and stuff. So
more than just a seat.
Yes.
Thing.
100%. So we were actually just there on our way. We stopped there on our way up here to drop off that fairing. And that'll be coming out. I don't have a date yet. I don't have a date of when they'll come out. I don't know. I couldn't tell you how.
This looks like one of the mini, like the new fairing, but a mini version.
Yep, it's the new FXRT fairing, but 100% the exact same thing, but just a mini version. And
now, is it designed to specifically go on a model of bike? Obviously, you can make anything fit anything.
I'm pretty sure it's. I don't think so, because I mean, that one went on an FXR, but I said something about putting it on my Sportster or putting it on my Sportster, and he didn't say anything about it. So but either way, like I said, I'm sure that they'll, because he was talking about just different models today of different stuff. So they were 100% coming out with obviously more than one type of bike.
Bags and all that stuff.
So they're coming out with some really, really cool stuff, and that fairing was one of them. So I'm super stoked that it's just cool to be a part of that, because Saddleman's such a notorious company. So it's super cool to be a part of a product release like that. So we'll see how far that goes, because me and Saddleman got some stuff in the works. I can say that. I can definitely say that. I can't give details, but we definitely have some stuff that are in the works.
When you can, make sure you come back.
For sure. I will. You'll be the first to know.
I appreciate that. Yeah. But you know what? On the note that you said, you don't even know who they were when you first met them.
100%. I didn't even recognize it.
that's just being. I've met some people doing this along the way that I'm like, oh, that was who?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I didn't know. And that's just me being genuine.
Even so, when he messaged me on his personal Instagram, I had no idea that was him. I was like, bro, who's this? And then I was like, oh shit, this is Chris. I was like, oh my bad, dude. I was like, I had no idea what you were talking about until I put 2 and 2 together.
But it's just being genuine, right?
Yeah, no, 100%.
That's how it does, not forced. It's not like.
And let me tell you, like that he is super cool. Just like so I saw him at Live Fast. That's actually where I got my seat, was at Live Fast. And I'm all like, at those events, I always party, man. So I'm a little partier there. So
Live Fast is a good. Those are my boys right there. Those are my homeboys. And they put on a good. That
time. One was a fun. Do you know? Oh, they're your boys. I need to know the cheeseburger food truck.
Oh, I don't know into depth on that.
We need to figure it out.
But I can probably get you in contact with somebody that can
I need to find out. They were the most amazing cheeseburgers I've ever had in my life, and I need them again. We've literally gone through Live Fast's whole page and their whole vendor list trying to find one specific food truck, because we went to them at the end and we said, "Are you still open?"
Was it?
I don't know.
It was burgers.
So we went up to them. We said, "How many cheeseburgers do you have left?" And they said, "Look, we got 3 pre-made right now. I'll give it to you for the price of 1." I said, "Hell yeah, dude." We were hammered. And so then there's a video of me eating the cheeseburger, because she's like, "What are we doing now?" I said, "I'm eating this cheeseburger first." And at first I was like, "I'm drunk. That's how good it is. Like, it's just because I'm drunk. Like, everything's good when you're drunk, you know?" And then one of our sober friends actually tried it, and it was Kelsey, I think. And she was like, "No, this is amazing." She's like, "This is actually a really, really fucking good burger." Okay. And I'm like, okay. I'm not crazy.
I can definitely make a text. I can send a text out.
I'm sorry, that started out quite aggressive.
No.
I was just very
sounds like you're very passionate about that.
I told you, it's very big in my life. So
all right. Well, hey, listen, you guys, October 8th, I'm gonna have a 40th birthday party.
Oh, hell yeah.
Down here. Okay. So I'm turning 40 this year. That's why when you're like, I'm 27, I'm like, yeah, man. I'm an old ass man over here.
Not at all.
I'm both of you. So.
I'm having you're invited. I want to invite both of you guys here.
Thank you.
I'm going to it's basically going to be a bike rally is what I'm going to do.
Okay, dope.
I'm going to have a little pre-ride.
We'll take PCH up here.
Yeah, I'm going to have a little pre-ride out of it. Then I'm going to clear all this out. I want everybody to park their bikes inside of here.
Dope.
My buddy Dave, who is the drummer of Poor Man's Change. I'm going to have them here to perform and stuff and hang out.
Dope.
And then I'll have a taco man here, some beer.
Hell yeah, that's what's up.
It's gonna be like a bike rally 40th birthday
we'll be
party.
Here. I'm ready for it.
Gonna do. So you guys are welcome to come and partake.
Yeah, this is a dope place.
It'll be a good ass time. So
cool. Well, I can't wait for it.
Yeah. Well, but thank you for coming. And,
thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Making the long ass drive.
Of course.
Thank you for. I hope. We should have just put a mic up for you, but that's all right.
That's all right.
She was all right hollering from the back.
She was echoing back there. So
yeah. So Shayna, thank you very much for coming. Have a safe drive home. All right.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
All right, girl. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
That was a good time.
That was a very good time.
That thing died just about 5 minutes ago.
That's okay. All right, appreciate you greatly.
No, thank you.
It was a really good time. This party should be dope up here.